King Charles is in the United States of America alongside Queen Camilla Cabello. And it's a high stakes visit because the world that we live in is that stupid. Van Jones did a Hassan Piker video. I love that. My Maoist third world is king. Oh, there was also, the USA Today one was like, we talked about Hamas too. Fox News covered the conspiracy theories about the White House. Oh, dude, yeah, it's awesome that Fox News is complaining about conspiracy theories. Van Jones, his statement outraged many who just now want to write him off. That's a mistake. He has a massive audience and is emerging as one of the major voices of this generation. Those of us who disagree owe him and his audience a real argument. Here's mine. And my position doesn't come from ignorance about oppression. A big chunk of my life, I was a grassroots activist. You literally were a Maoist third worldist who talked about the apartheid. You wrote spoken word poetry. Van Jones, in the 80s and 90s, was a Maoist third worldist, okay? This is not a joke. I mean it. I'm serious. Like, this is real, okay? Van Jones is a Maoist third worldist who wrote spoken word poetry rap songs about Israel's apartheid of the Palestinians. Now, this was, of course, before he got hit with the Obama ray, okay? When he got into the Obama cabinet, obviously, by that point, he had been a soldier for neoliberalism, or at some point something changed in him, right? Obviously. But what's really funny is they yelled about his background a lot when he was in the Obama cabinet. And since then, I mean, obviously he's made a massive fortune for himself. He got $100 million unconditionally from Jeff Bezos, but I guess it's not so unconditionally. He is one of the most rabid defenders of the state of Israel. I find out about new groups, like new Zionist groups in the country, because Van Jones will attend their events. You know, Zionists being one example. He was at this Zionist party at the DNC. But yeah, 9 minutes he afforded me with his AI videos and all this shit. Fantastic. Again, every single entity, every single group that is either sympathetic to the cause of Israel, every single group that is pro-Israel in any way, shape, or form, or getting paid, has been up my ass for the last 3 months almost. It is incredible. Okay? Now, of course, I still don't believe that there is, even with all the overwhelming, unprincipled smear machine that I've been on the receiving end of, I don't think it is successful. I don't think it's successful at all. And I think they're doing it because they're desperate. They're doing it because they have lost the conversation. They've lost the argument. People do not fuck with Israel any longer. Israel's approval keeps plummeting over and over again. So now basically they're doing everything in their power to punish those who played a role in opposition to Israel. But the past 3 weeks have been unbelievable. I have never seen this level of coverage and attention. Fox News has basically been writing hit piece after hit piece every fucking day, multiple times a day. Okay? Wall Street Journal, free expression. Microlooting is a luxury belief. I don't know. It's unbearable. It's really, really annoying. It's annoying that I have to deal with it at all. It doesn't even have the negative impact that these people think it does, but it doesn't stop them from annoying me. Okay? You're still not actually addressing the point he's making, which is why Hamas is bad, while Hamas is bad, Israel's worse. They've also done all the things you list, just more. As long as you refuse to talk about that, you're also having a conversation, you're spouting rehearsed talking points. Piker. Yeah, I assume this is just like, here's why Hamas is bad. Okay? Which is what everybody wants to talk about. The entire point between like Israel is 1,000 times worse than Hamas is that Hamas's excesses and the actions that they engage in, okay, from time to time are indefensible, okay? A lot of people in my community will get mad at me for this. They'll be like, how dare you say that? It's just, it is, okay? Any violation of international law is going to be something that is critical, okay? Worthy of criticism. The problem is, if you spend a good deal of time condemning that shit, then you're missing the forest for the trees, okay? It doesn't matter in comparison to the violence that Israel is subjecting the Palestinians to. It should not change that dynamic or the calculation of whether or not genocide is permissible, whether or not apartheid is permissible. It's not. And these guys don't want to talk about that. That's why they spend a good deal of time talking about Hamas. Hamas could be the greatest, most moral defenders of the Palestinian emancipatory movement, and you'd still fucking oppose them. Bro, you were on the last Shoe on Head video. I will literally shoot myself with a gun if you bring that shit up in here, okay? Why? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go out, purchase a shotgun, shoot myself in the face, not die in the process, but at least lose significant chunks of my fucking brain so I can operate at the same substandard, suboptimal IQ level that Shoe on Head and her dumb fuck audience operates in so I can do a regular response to that? Is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to lose chunks of my brain? Do you want me to John Fetterman myself so I can understand the compelling argument that Shoe on Head makes, one that should have been left in the dustbin of history all the way back in 2016? Ooh, look at me. I'm an emo girl and I change my politics all the fucking time. Ooh, look at me. As an emo girl, I look like that one meme on the internet, okay? 4chan guys who are now 38 years old want to fap to me. Fuck. Why would you openly admit that you listen to Shoe on Head in 2026, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? Every single one of these people are stupid fucking grifters, okay? They flip-flop like flapjacks. Nick Fuentes is another one of these dipshits. I mean, he's consistent on his anti-Semitism, but he keeps going back and forth on whether he wants to punish the Republican Party for being too philo-Semitic, or whether or not he wants to actually demand that the Republican Party punish the opposition. He goes back and forth on it all the time. None of these motherfuckers are consistent. None of these motherfuckers have a genuine worldview. At least with Nick Fuentes, he does have one. It's repulsive, it's toxic, it's disgusting, but at least I can associate him with a movement, with an ideology. But people like Shoe on Head are basically a humanoid version of a fucking Reddit aggregator. They just spit out shit that they see on subreddits. So why the fuck are you going there? You might as well just go to the subreddit directly and read all the commentary that they turn into video essays. Jesus Christ. What an unbearable fucking way to exist, dude. Oh, I'm getting all my politics from Shoe on Head. Honestly, good luck, dude. People should be more embarrassed, okay? What happened to shame? What happened to shame? If you're getting your politics from a person like Shoe on Head, you should be embarrassed. Go spend some time in the real world. Try to explain to people that this is the person that's educating you on your worldview. God, it's like saying, oh, I get my politics from fucking Patrick Bet-David. Oh my God, the things I want to say to people like this. All right, let's get to the goddamn president.
Is preparing to address Congress this morning.
I gotta piss.
Strike a tone of unity as tensions over the war in Iran and the Epstein scandal loom large. This after a royal welcome. The King and Queen Camilla touched down in Washington and headed straight to the White House for tea with the Trumps, taking time to stroll through the South Lawn, checking out the presidential beehive with the President and First Lady, before going to a garden party at the ambassador's residence. Today, after an official ceremonial welcome this morning, King Charles will head to Capitol Hill. In a 20-minute speech, he will reference Saturday night's shooting and express his solidarity and support. His remarks have been carefully crafted by senior diplomats, and he'll call the UK-US relationship one of the greatest alliances in human history, and call for our shared values to be defended. And after President Trump's stinging attacks on Britain for not joining the war in Iran, Charles will talk of reconciliation and renewal.
He's obviously acutely aware that everyone is going to be hanging on to his every word. Because of the situation politically, this has become a very high-stakes visit, and King Charles is walking a bit of a tightrope. He needs to utilise that soft power and have influence, but he can't stray into anything that...
It's so funny that basically everyone knows exactly what's going on, except for Trump, I guess. Everyone knows he's a baby. It's basically like bringing Mickey Mouse out. You know what I mean? The king is the Mickey Mouse of the United Kingdom. Trump really likes the royal family. The UK is aware of this. They know Keir Starmer has no motion. They know Keir Starmer is a fucking loser and unbearable. And I guess it's one of the few instances where I kind of agree with Donald Trump in bullying Keir Starmer. Like if I was in his shoes, I'd do the same exact thing because he just sucks so bad. So they have to send their powerful guns out, knowing full well that Trump actually has a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for the royal family. Trump wants to be a king anyway. So they're going through this process like a baby. We are treating the American president, the leader of the free world, like he is a baby because he is a baby. Think about that. A goddamn child. People are basically walking around on eggshells where they're like, we got to bring the king out. We got to bring the fucking king out. I mean, it's great. As an American, I do actually like this a little bit. Like, I think, look, no disrespect to the United Kingdom, no disrespect to my British comrades out there, but I will say this. The royalty does deserve this humiliation, right? In my opinion, I think it's worth it. It's due, right? It's due time for the royals to be, tarred and feathered in this way, spiritually, right? Cucked. So I do think it's kind of good, right? Don't get mad at me. This is nothing to do with my British comrades and your daily struggles over there. Okay, I'm not talking shit about England. I'm just saying that, like, the concept of royalty, I do not understand. It's very strange, and very silly, really. So it's wonderful that this like symbolism of monarchy that is resilient has to go through this ritualistic humiliation in an effort to create better relations between the UK and the United States of America. It's also funny that it's yet another example of Keir Starmer's incompetence, and he's so unbearable. He's so intensely disliked. It's impossible for him to do adequate diplomacy. So they have to go through the motions like this, and they have to send the king out like a goddamn like he's goddamn SpongeBob with a child's birthday pageantry at Chuck E. Cheese. Britain's ambassadorship to Washington said the U.S. has one true special relationship, probably Israel. Oh, not the UK, in remarks reported by the Financial Times that risk overshadowing King Charles's U.S. visit. He also criticized U.S. accountability over Jeffrey Epstein, saying it was extraordinary the scandal hasn't touched anybody despite links to prominent figures. Oh my God. Oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. It's true. Everything here is 100% true. All facts, all facts, no printer. Okay. Oh my God. Put that shit in the news. Oh my God. What an incredible hot mic moment. Christian Turner, UK ambassador to the US.
Is a phrase I try not to utter because it's quite nostalgic, it's quite backwards looking, and it has a lot of sort of baggage about it. I think there is probably one country that has a special relationship with the United States, and that's probably Israel. Is a phrase.
Yeah, you can't say this stuff, especially in England, by the way. I mean, you could say this in America, right? But British people are extra hard on the anti-Semitism allegations. They go nutty over it. They love that shit. Okay, it's their favorite thing. Oh no, can't believe the UK ambassador to the US, Christian Turner, said something that 90% of the population of the Western world understand now. I don't even say believe, because it's just the reality. And he had the audacity to, in a private moment, communicate the fucking truth. The truth that is no longer such a secret, by the way. A truth that everyone understands and recognizes and observes, right? Uh-oh, time to get fired, Christian Turner. That'll show them. That'll show them. That'll stop people from recognizing that America places Israel in a higher status than every other country, including, in many instances, Americans, right? Israel has killed American citizens. America doesn't do anything about it. Oh no, Christian Turner said the truth. You can't say that. It's unacceptable to say the truth. The truth that is now the overwhelmingly popular position as well. It's not even like, oh, this is a hidden truth that you can't say. It's one that everyone observes and everyone notices and everyone understands is the reality. Okay? Oh, our mayor gave this praise to Trump being safe, then went straight to the Israeli embassy. But that is literally what the king's job is, a literal ambassador. That's true. I guess you're right. It's just funny to reduce yourself to this position when you're a monarch, I think. When you reduce yourself to this position where you have to be talked down by a figure that you know is repulsive, right? A hothead. Because normally, when you're the monarch, when you're the king, other people, both historically and even to this day, I think it's like kept up through a system of routines, and you know, there's like a way to address the king. There's certain things you can't say towards the king or about the king. There's like all these weird rules, right? So Trump doesn't care about any of that. And we know he doesn't care about any of that. He, as a matter of fact, enjoys violating those rules because he can. So I find it somewhat funny, somewhat entertaining to imagine a guy who has no respect for that status, who, you know, likes that you're royalty but can like dominate you, and you're reducing yourself to simply a you know, Mickey Mouse style figure for the personal enjoyment and consumption of a baby man who you know is disgusting. He's disgusting. Trump is, right? And no, I don't think the king cares that he's a pedophile, right? Like, obviously, his brother is a pedophile in the same exact vein, right? So that's not even what I'm talking about. It's like infinitely more embarrassing that this repulsive figure gets to talk down to you. You're the king, and you are now the product of losing a 13 colony lead, reducing yourself to this servile status with hopes that you can actually create better relationships with the true empire that you are now a vassal to. Anyway, it's funny that he also had smoke for the Epstein situation. He criticized the U.S. accountability over Jeffrey Epstein, saying it was extraordinary that the scandal hasn't touched anybody despite links to prominent figures. Smoke. Christian Turner. I don't know this man at all. I suspect he's not a very good person. Especially if he's the UK ambassador to the US. Given what I know about the former UK ambassador to the US, the guy he replaced, I don't know if he's that great of a guy, but he is correct here, right? Britain's ambassador to Washington has said America's only special relationship is probably Israel, not the UK, in remarks that risk embarrassing King Charles during his visit to the US this week. Yeah, oh no, the truth is embarrassing the King Charles.
It's extraordinary to me that the furore, the scandal over Epstein, convicted sex offender, has gone right to the top of the British system, brought down, you know, senior member of the royal family, British ambassador to Washington, potentially the Prime Minister, and yet here in the US, it really hasn't touched anybody. I think that is an interesting question you should ask American lawmakers you meet about the different levels of accountability in our systems. There's currently a move on the Hill to bring to account some of those senior...
Yeah, I mean, the guy, the king, had his brother arrested, apprehended, humiliated, right? He lost all of his titles even before this latest round of legal scrutiny. Mendelssohn too, right? For better or for worse, there has been some semblance of accountability in the United Kingdom against Epstein affiliates. Now, we're just scratching the surface because Epstein was deeply connected with many Western governments, the United Kingdom being one of them, only one of them. And Epstein obviously is deeply embedded in the American espionage agencies, the American State Department. But in comparison to the way that the UK is handling, like, who has been punished in America? What high-profile figure has been punished for collaborating with a pedophile sex trafficker, a Mossad agent, an agent of the CIA? What American powerful financial figure? Nothing. The only accountability that has come for one person in the media was that one guy who was really excited about hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, and Barry Weiss did not even want to punish that person. He basically self-isolated. It's crazy. Oh yeah, a Harvard professor Larry Summers has been taken off of his I think he was the dean, right? He's no longer a dean or something. I mean, talk about a slap on the wrist, dude. Yeah, the Coldplay concert CEO got more punishment. Brett Cooper called you out on YouTube at 10 minutes in. Again, you should be embarrassed for watching Brett fucking Cooper. A bunch of different things I'm going to be doing. Sam Cedar raid. Hey, Sam Cedar. The Majority Report. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream.
Bill Gates, or having a close association with it. Special relationship is a phrase I try not to utter because it's quite nostalgic, it's quite backwards looking, and it has a lot of sort of baggage about it. I think there is.
He's like, I'm jealous. Don't say special relationship, because the UK doesn't have a special relationship with America. Only one country has a special relationship, and that's Israel.
Only one country that has a special relationship with the United States, and that's probably Israel. So there is deep history and affinity between us. Particularly in our defence and security, we are intertwined. There are things we do together that no two other countries do. And as I've mentioned, our economies are very close. But I think, if I'm honest, I don't think it's over. No, I don't agree with Mark Carney that we're in a moment of rupture. I think we're certainly at the end of an era, and the era is changing. But I don't think it's a break, as Carney advised at Davos. But I think we do need to work to redefine, particularly in defence and security, accept that we in Europe can't just rely on a US security umbrella. So the relationship will carry on if you want being special, but I think it's going to have to be different. And my advice to my Prime Minister is I can't just sit there and put my hands on my ears and say it's special, it's going to be fine. We've got to work really clearly to see what we, the UK, bring to the table. To get to a threshold where he's never lost a fight he's in, and so I think here saying I'm quitting is quite a high bar. So probably the moment I would look to is the May elections. I suspect the party will move to go over that threshold and remove him.
The King's speech is starting soon, not the movie. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what the fucking King has to say with his potato fingers. Glenn Greenwald deleted tweet about Barry Weiss. Photo editors can do almost more than anyone in shaping how a news article or profile is perceived. Oh my God, that is crazy. That is the gayest Glenn has been, okay? I'm sorry. That's hilarious. That is drama, okay?
For me, that's just me as a citizen speculating because I have to serve, remember.
Hassan, do you wear wigs? Yeah, I do. I'm wearing one right now. I'm bald, actually. Glenn ate no crumbs. True. Glenn slowly growing back on me in a weird way. I mean, yeah, he's always been good on Israel and stuff, so it's not surprising. 20 minutes till speech. Vance is already there. Yeah, bro thinks he's Netanyahu. Okay, that's the real one true king. Okay, the real king of America, the American Empire, the one who sits on top of that throne, is not King Charles. Bro thinks he's Benjamin Netanyahu with a joint meeting of Congress, like addressing a joint session. No, sir. Let's see if Fetterman wore a suit for this one. Probably not. He only does it for the real king. Anyway, the comments were made in the weeks running up to the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran that began the current conflict in the Middle East. One of the other things I saw here, you were being anti-Semitic. Yes, I know. I know. What was I going to say? One of the other ways of trying to understand whether or not the war effort is going well is by listening to our vassals. Okay. Now, there is varying degrees of being cucked, right? The maximum cucking is when you're Kash Patel, right? Kash Patel level is like the maximum cuck, where your girlfriend is holding someone else's hand during a shootout, right? And you're embarrassed by this because it's reported on in the Gray Lady, the paper of record, the New York Times. So England is fairly cucked to the United States of America, but I wouldn't say Kash Patel level cucked, right? They're not Kash level, if that's the highest level of being cucked. But there is one country in Europe that is, I think, Kash level cucked, and that country is Germany. And even German leadership has been openly saying that Iran has embarrassed America. Okay? So when you got German leadership, Merz specifically, the Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, the man with the most expensive haircut of all time, with nothing to show for it, coming out and saying Iran is humiliating the U.S., that's when you know things have gotten out of hand. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz questioned the U.S. exit strategy in Iran, warning Washington is being humiliated as Tehran negotiates very skillfully and appears stronger than expected. Speaking to students in Marsburg, he urged a swift end to the conflict, citing mounting economic fallout for Germany. Let's hear what he had to say. The Americans obviously have no strategy. We have seen this very painfully in Afghanistan for 20 years. We've seen that in Iraq. So this story is, as I said, at least ill-considered. I don't recognize at the moment which strategic exit the Americans are now choosing, especially since the Iranians are obviously negotiating very cleverly, and then let the Americans travel to Islamabad and leave again without results. It humiliates an entire nation. The Iranian government, particularly through the so-called Revolutionary Guards, and I don't see how that can be achieved in the short term, because the Iranians are obviously stronger than expected, and the Americans, clearly, they do not have a really convincing strategy in the negotiations either. Friedrich Merz, I think, genuinely nutted when America bombed Iran alongside Israel, okay? He might have actually dropped the fat rope on camera when he found out. He was so giddy. Friedrich Merz, who has famously said things like, Israel is doing our dirty work. That man is now saying Americans are embarrassing themselves. Iran is putting belt to ass. This was the chancellor's statement. The USA and Israel have been conducting massive military strikes against Iran since Saturday. Chancellor Merz is in close contact with European partners, Israel, and partners in the region. He will discuss developments with U.S. President Trump in Washington on Tuesday. The regime threatened Israel's existence, was responsible for the terror of Hamas and Hezbollah, and its nuclear and missile programs threaten peace and security, said the chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome. On the situation in the Middle East, on this beautiful Sunday, in recent days and weeks, we witnessed an unprecedented number of wars and upheaval, both around the world and in our neighborhood. The lines of conflict are becoming increasingly blurred. Existing rules, including those of international law, are disregarded more and more. By America and Israel, by the way, but he says it's by Hamas and Iran. Another Merz clip has hit the timeline. Oh my God. At this point, I'm disillusioned simply because U.S. and Israel claimed at the beginning that they could solve this problem within days. Now I must recognize it is not solved. He said Germany and the EU have also have own European ideas on how to get a resolution in the conflict and will continue their diplomatic coordination with the US. Underway again for Germany for some time now. Oh, dude, he's doing bilateral talks with Iran. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Iran is literally forcing multipolarity. That's crazy. I cannot believe it. It's unheard of. I will be honest with you, I never thought it would be Iran. Like I thought, multipolarity being forced upon the world by the likes of another warring party like Russia, certainly, right? And this doesn't justify Russia's actions, by the way. I'm not saying that like Russia was justifiable in invading Ukraine. I don't think so. I don't think they are. But that was shaking the system, right? That was shaking and shook America's hegemonic status, right? Especially because after, multiple years at this point, the entirety of the Western world's support has not been able to successfully purge Russia from the boundaries of Ukraine. Again, this is not, I'm not saying this is good, okay? I'm not saying that. I know a lot of you get very sensitive around the Ukraine issue when you hear someone that has a different perspective than you, okay? And I have to be extra sensitive and extra careful when I talk about Ukraine. Now that I know Ukraine objectively has shooters in the United States of America, I don't want to be the target of their enmity. Okay, I apologize, Dylan Burns. Please don't send your Fedayeen after me. Okay, I don't want Ryan Ruth, his 1,000 NATO-trained Afghan soldiers, or Cole Allen to come and assassinate me. I'm not the fucking president. Okay, so I have to be extra careful on this issue, just qualifying all my statements. But here's the thing. I would have expected Russia to force America's hand and show the European partners that there are other regional powers out there who are capable of being insane enough and like break the system of unipolarity, break the system of American hegemony, right? I never thought that country would be Iran. I guess these things work in coordination and tandem with one another, but Iran, by simply approaching this issue because they see it as a crisis of survival, and being steadfast in their defense of their own sovereignty, has forced the hand of European counterparts that have been vassals for far too long into bilateral commitments with Iran. Into, I don't know what those commitments are going to look like. I don't know what those commitments will look like, but I suspect that any kind of decision making that does not involve the United States of America, any kind of bilateral decision making with Iran, is a major step against American hegemony. Right? And Iran, I think, would not have this much success in getting assurances from European allies if it wasn't Donald Trump leading the helm, leading the war effort. If it wasn't, if it was a competent Republican, for example, or if it was a competent Democrat, I think they would do a lot better as far as maintaining relationships. They probably would not have invaded Iran. We know this because even the most insane, the most intensely ultra-Zionist leadership on the Democratic side with Joe Biden objectively did not bomb Iran, right? They were training for it. They were training for the opportunity. And if you believe Amos Hochstein, they were going to do it, but they didn't. Trump did. Trump took it there. And not only did Trump take it there, but Trump has also been undermining its global partners, its NATO partners that are profoundly important to maintaining American military-industrial contracts, maintaining American interests all around the globe, as Mark Rutte has openly admitted, right? I think all of that is the reason why even these goddamn servile cucks that are in charge of great industrial powers like Germany, the economic engine that runs the European Union, are finally saying, yeah, maybe we got to reconsider America's position on the global stage. It's kismet. It's perfectly chaotic. And some might even assume this was an inevitability considering how vast the American empire was, spread too thin, right? No country can be everywhere all at once and be a domineering force for thousands of years. So there was an inevitability that the end of American empire would come, but I do think Donald Trump has accelerated the demise. For sure. I guess the accelerationists were right in that regard. Merz is a waffling cretin, militarizing Germany, radicalizing society, and losing support faster than Starmer, making a takeover by the post-Nazi AfD all but inevitable. Yeah. Is this photo real, Lamau? Yes. The bigger question here is if the Americans are as strategically stupid as Merz is saying, why do Germany and the rest of the European leadership insist on tying their future to them? Where is Germany or Europe's independent strategy on Iran? Didn't Merz issue, together with Macron and Starmer, a joint statement at the beginning of the war condemning Iran for the war? Doesn't that make them even more strategically inept when your own public diagnosis is that the ship is sinking and your response is to stay on board? This is just vassalage with editorial commentary, which is even more strategically stupid than whatever Trump is doing. Yeah, I mean, if this kind of negative sentiment is not tied with like bilateral commitments that undermine America's interests, then it's nothing. Then yeah, you are even dumber than Donald Trump, right? It's true. We shall see. When he says Germany and the EU have their own European ideas on how to get a resolution on the conflict that will continue their diplomatic efforts in coordination with the US, perhaps they will do that. I don't know what that looks like as it stands currently. I don't have a lot of confidence in especially this crop of European leadership, because many of them are still very much neoliberals, very much center-right figures, very much figures that are invested in defending the interests of the same international consortium of capital that the American leadership is invested in defending the interests of. So I don't know where they will go, but this is opening up potentially new opportunities. Once again, it'll just never not be funny that these guys know how fucking stupid Donald Trump is. They know how childish he is. And they're at the mercy of the whims of a madman. And they have to play ball. And they have to glaze him. And they have to like humiliate themselves. They have to debase themselves to ensure that they do not receive the wrath of American empire. They're like, please, Mr. President, don't invade a NATO country. That was the conversation, remember. These guys that have talked about how big of a threat Russia is to European security, right? had to now cover their left flank out of nowhere. They were like, what? What do you mean you are going to militarily annex a piece of the European continent? You already have bases everywhere. What are you talking about? And every time Donald Trump gets mad, he floats that shit over and over again. Part of the reason why the king is here in the United States, aside from his joint session address, is because he has to explain to the president. I talked about this like last week or a couple weeks ago. Maybe you guys remember. Part of the reason why the president or the king has to visit the president is so he can explain to him that Canada is a part of the Commonwealth. As in, if he's trying to urge Trump by using his symbolic status and you know, Trump's interest in the royal family to stop him from militarily annexing parts of Canada. It sounds like a joke. If you were to tell me, not 10 years ago, because 10 years ago it was still Trump, but if you were to tell me 20 years ago, okay, if you were to tell me 20 years ago that this is what would be happening right now, like that the American president was threatening to militarily annex Canada, threatened to militarily annex parts of Europe, and that he had the attitude of a baby, like a child, and that the British king or the queen at the time would have to do a visit to beg the American president not to invade Canada and to remind or educate the person, the American president, that like Canada is a part of the Commonwealth. So you're technically invading, you know, a part of the great British Empire. I would assume that, I would say that's unbelievable. There's just no shot. 14-year-old Hassan was probably too busy jorking it to listen, though. True.
Congress, of course, a Congress that is very split on the United States' involvement in Iran. Of course, the president also making a few jokes about his mother's love for the royal family as well, which the president clearly does share. But the president really emphasizing that the United States and the UK share the same root, they speak the same language, and they hold the same values. We expect the king to really drive home that very similar message here today in just a few moments, David.
But, Rachel, we did also take note that the president stayed away from any comments on the British Prime Minister.
He certainly did, and that was very notable. You know, President Trump is not...
The fuck can His Highness do, though? He's turbo cooked and speaking to an ape? No, this is important. Bro, Trump is an ape? Think about the king as like a banana, right? Like that's what this is. They're like, oh, it's feeding time. Like the king here is just like doing this gesture so that the ape is calm. The ape calms down. That's literally all this is. And it's funny because everyone knows that that's what this is. Like there's no like secret purpose here. It's pretty out there. Keir Starmer is incapable of doing diplomacy with Donald Trump because he is a horribly uncharismatic douchebag who has fallen greatly out of favor. Right? Trump doesn't respect him, but Trump actually likes the royal family. So Trump's like, oh, it's the king. The king is coming to me. Like these are, in some ways, this does remind me of like, things that you read about dictatorships in the third world, right? Like some kind of fascist warlord that we've propped up in an African country, and it's like a horribly violent monster that is an American puppet, and all of the other regional partners have to satiate his appetite and like try to figure out what things he's interested in to basically have a polite conversation. And that's what the rest of the world is doing to Trump. That's literally what's going on. Trump is, for all intents and purposes, like a bad dog, right? An untrained dog that was maybe abused and angry and like lashing out at people. And now, instead of a Cesar Millan style approach where someone comes in and goes, and stops the dog from biting everybody. We're just trying to give the dog enough treats so that we fatten the dog up so he calms the fuck down. We're trying to bribe the dog to not bite the delivery guy. The Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This is his number one. He's like, oh, you oppose me? You oppose me? Oh, you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Sure, bud. That's what's going on here. The Pope wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Friedrich Merz wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. He's got one speed. This is his only retort. Anyone that says, hey, man, maybe you should stop fucking the international energy markets with your penis. Anytime people say this reasonable thing, Trump's response is, oh, I guess you want Iran to nuke you. He said Pope Leo wants Iran to have nuclear arms. He doesn't know what he's talking about. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be held hostage. I'm doing something with Iran right now that other nations or presidents should have done long ago. No wonder Germany is doing so poorly, both economically and otherwise. President Donald J. Trump. Dog, part of the reason why Germany is doing so poorly economically and otherwise is because of us. Okay? They'd set up gas contracts with Russia that we forced them out of, and now they have to purchase expensive American gas instead, and they're staring down the barrel of an energy crisis already, or they were experiencing the impact of an energy crisis, and now it's worsened. Now it's worsened directly as a consequence of your actions. This is before we even factor in American tariffs. No, I don't want Truth Social to send me notifications. What the hell? Secret Service agent shot during Trump assassination bid may have been hit by a colleague. You don't say. Oh, wow. How shocking. Who could have speculated that on the first night? Who was getting yelled at in the chat, being like, Hassan, why are you claiming that it might have been friendly fire? Pre-watch Piker. Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, is sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people. The People's Broadcasting Service, Piker Broadcasting Service, for tomorrow's news today. If you'd like to support the show, if you'd like to support independent media, please subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is free as long as you connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription a month. Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by your voluntary contributions, your gifted subs. Piker Broadcasting Service. For you, the people, by you, the people. Thank you. Set to it run. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Harmuzzi91, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted subs. And Furov, thank you for the 10. Closed presents with 50 bones. I mean, this is, again, purely speculative. But that was my initial assessment as well. Does the white monster mean you're a blue-collar worker? Yes. All right, the king is speaking.
King Charles, who made many visits to
Members
the U.S.
of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Majesty Charles III.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of Congress, representatives of the American people across all states, territories, cities, and communities. I would like, if I may, to take this opportunity to express my particular gratitude to you all for the great honor of addressing this joint meeting of Congress. And on behalf of the Queen and myself, to thank the American people for welcoming us to the United States to mark this semi-quincentennial year of the Declaration of Independence. And for all of that time...
Cock.
And for all of that time, our destinies as nations have been interlinked. As Oscar Wilde said, we have really everything in common with America nowadays, except, of course, language. So
I like his suit. I'm a suit guy now. I'm a sartorial guy, and I gotta say,
times of
I like the fit.
From Europe to the Middle East, which pose immense challenges for the international community, and whose impact is felt in communities the length and breadth of our own countries. We meet, too, in the aftermath of the incident not far from this great building that sought to harm the leadership of your nation and to foment wider fear and discord. Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed.
Bro has hot dogs for fingers? Yeah.
Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect all our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in the service of our countries. Standing here today, it is hard not to feel the weight of history on my shoulder.
Where is his
because
crown?
The modern relationship between our two nations.
That'd be really funny if he wore a crown
spans
all
not
the time.
Nearly 250 years, but over 4 centuries. It is extraordinary to think that I am the 19th in our line.
Someone in the chat said this is some libtard shit. The idea that the king is doing libtard propaganda is awesome.
So I come
He's a
here
king
today with the highest respect for the United States Congress, this citadel of democracy created to represent the voice of all American people to advance sacred rights and freedoms. Speaking in this renowned chamber of debate and deliberation, I cannot help but think of my late mother, Queen Elizabeth, who in 1991 was also
this chamber of great deliberation. True, dude. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but like Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace are congresspersons, okay? You can't really... Randy Fine is a fucking congressperson. It's not exactly such a great deliberative body anymore.
Of our nations to express the highest regard and friendship of the British people to the people of the United States. Now, as you may know, when I address my own parliament at Westminster, we still follow an age-old tradition and take a member of parliament hostage, holding him or her at Buckingham Palace until I am safely returned. These days, we look after our guests rather well, to the point that they often do not want to leave. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, if there were any volunteers for that role here today. As I look back across the centuries, Mr. Speaker, there emerge certain patterns, certain self-evident truths from which we can learn and draw mutual strength. With the spirit of 1776 in our minds, we can perhaps agree that we do not always agree, at least in the first instance. Indeed, the very principle on which your Congress was founded, no taxation without representation, was at once a fundamental disagreement between us, and at the same time a shared democratic value which you inherited from us. Ours is a partnership born out of dispute, but no less strong for it. So perhaps in this example, we can discern that our nations are in fact instinctively like-minded, a product of the common democratic, legal, and social traditions in which our governance is rooted to this day. Drawing on these values and traditions, time and again, our two countries have always found ways to come together. And by Jove, Mr. Speaker, when we have found that way to agree, what great change is brought about, not just for the benefit of our peoples, but of all peoples. This, I believe, is the special ingredient in our relationship. As President Trump himself observed during his state visit to Britain last autumn, The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal.
And one bond, perhaps best represented by political prisoner Ghislaine Maxwell, a cohort of sorts of the esteemed New York financier Jeffrey Epstein. A friend to many, including but not limited to my great brother, Prince Andrew.
Mr. Speaker, this is by no means my first visit to Washington, D.C., the capital of this great republic. It is, in fact, my 20th visit to the United States.
Damn, bro, you've been here too much.
And my first as king and head of the Commonwealth. This is a city which symbolizes a period in our shared history, or what Charles Dickens might have called a tale of two Georges. First President George Washington and my 5 times great-grandfather, King George III. King George, as you know, never set foot in America. And please rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here as part of some cunning rearguard action.
I mean, Loki, they're eating out of his hand. Like, he is owning that room. Look, I hate the king. I hate the monarchy. I have to admit, he's kind of cooking. Like, he is surprisingly, I guess, when you have unlimited funds and unlimited trading, you can look like a ghoul and still be a competent speaker, it turns out. He's got a type 5. Like,
independence. By balancing contending forces and drawing strength into diversity, they united 13 disparate colonies to forge a nation on the revolutionary idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They carried with them and carried forward the great inheritance of the British Enlightenment, as well as the ideals which had an even deeper history in English common law and Magna Carta.
Why are they clapping for English common law and Magna Carta? Trump is literally trying to violate the fundamentals of Magna Carta.
They're still vital.
He's gone biblical, dude. That's what's so crazy about Donald Trump's destruction of due process. Like, that shit is a concept that has been around for longer than liberalism has been around. Like, this is a ancient concept that is fundamentally important to modernity.
And further back in history, the U.S. Supreme Court Historical Society has calculated that
if
Magna
Trump knew
Carta,
what Magna Carta was, he would be so mad right now for the king bringing it up.
court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances.
The fucking king! Oh my God, the king is giving a lesson on civics. Oh my God, the king is delivering a joint address to Congress, warning about the dangers of Donald Trump's unbelievable seizure of power, and these dumb fuck Americans are clapping for it. Oh my God, the king is woke.
This is the reason why there stands a stone by the River Thames at Runnymede, where Magna Carta was signed in the year 1215. This stone records that an acre of that ancient and historic site was given to the United States of America by the people of the United Kingdom to symbolize our shared resolve in support of liberty and in memory of President John F. Kennedy. Distinguished members of the 119th Congress, it is here in these very halls that this spirit of liberty and the promise of America's founders is present in every session and every vote cast. Not by the will of one, but by the deliberation of many, representing the living mosaic of the United States. In both of our countries, it is the very fact of our vibrant, diverse, and free societies that gives us our collective strength, including to support victims of some of the ills that so tragically exist in both our societies today. And, Mr. Speaker, for many here, and for myself, the Christian faith is a firm anchor and daily inspiration that guides us not only personally, but together as members of our community. Having devoted a large part of my life to interfaith relationships and greater understanding, it is that faith in the triumph of light over darkness which I have found confirmed countless times. Through it, I am inspired by the profound respect that develops as people of different faiths grow in their understanding of each other.
Boo!
It is why, it is my hope, my prayer, that in these turbulent times, working together and with our international partners, we can stem the beating of plowshares into swords. I am mindful that we are still in the season of Easter, the season that most strengthens my hope. It is why I believe with all my heart that the essence of our two nations is a generosity of spirit and a duty to foster compassion, to promote peace, to deepen mutual understanding, and to value all people of all faiths and of none.
I mean, I use the swords to plowshares analogy in my Yale speech as well, talking about what the biblical analogy, talking about what America didn't do.
The alliance that our two nations have built over the centuries, and for which we are profoundly grateful to the American people, is truly unique. And that alliance is part of what Henry Kissinger described as Kennedy's soaring vision of an Atlantic partnership based on twin pillars, Europe and America. That partnership, I believe, Mr. Speaker, is more important today than it has ever been. The first reigning British sovereign to set foot in America was my grandfather, King George VI. He visited in 1939 with my beloved grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The forces of fascism in Europe were on the march, and sometime before the United States had joined us in the defense of freedom, our shared values prevailed. Today, we find ourselves in a new era, but those values remain. It is an era that is in many ways more volatile and more dangerous than the world to which my late mother spoke in this chamber in 1991. The challenges we face are too great for any one nation to bear alone. But in this unpredictable environment, our alliance cannot rest on past achievements or assume that foundational principles simply endure. As my Prime Minister said last month, ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years. Instead, we must build on it. Renewal...
There's an ad boosted from... Okay, dude.
Renewal today starts with security. The United Kingdom recognizes that the threats we face demand a transformation in British defense. That is why our country, in order to be fit for the future, has committed to the biggest sustained increase in defense spending since the Cold War, during part of which, over 50 years ago, I served with immense pride in the Royal Navy, following in the naval footsteps of my father, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, my grandfather, King George VI, my great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten, and my great-grandfather, King George V. This year, of course, also marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11. This atrocity was a defining moment for America, and your pain and shock were felt around the whole world. During my visit to New York, my wife and I will again pay our respects to the victims, the families, and the bravery shown in the face of terrible loss. We stood with you then, and we stand with you now in solemn remembrance of a day that shall never be forgotten.
He's going to blame you? Okay, guys. No, he's not. Shut up. Long forgotten are the pains, the shared pains of 9/11. As one American radical has said, America deserved it. How dare you allow such insolence?
Was united in the face of terror. We answered the call together, as our people have done so for more than a century, shoulder to shoulder, through 2 world wars, the Cold War, Afghanistan, and moments that have defined our shared security. Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine and her most courageous people. It is needed in order to secure a truly just and lasting peace. From the depths of the Atlantic to the disastrously melting ice caps of the Arctic, the commitment and expertise of the United States Armed Forces and its allies lie at the heart of NATO, pledged to each other's defense, protecting our citizens and interests, keeping North Americans and Europeans safe from our common adversaries. Our defense, intelligence and security ties,
the indigenous populations of the third world
not in years,
who yearn for liberation.
Today, thousands of U.S. service personnel, defense officials and their families are stationed in the United Kingdom as British personnel serve with equal pride across 30 American states. We are building F-35s together. And we have agreed the most ambitious submarine program in history, AUKUS.
Oh, wow. How shocking.
And we are doing it in partnership with Australia, a country of which I'm also immensely proud to serve as sovereign. We do not embark on these remarkable endeavors together out of sentiment. We do so because they build greater shared resilience for the future, so making our citizens safer for generations to come. Our common ideals were not only crucial for liberty and equality, they are also the foundation of our shared prosperity. The rule of law, the certainty of stable and accessible rules, an independent judiciary resolving disputes and delivering impartial justice. These features created the conditions for centuries of unmatched economic growth in our 2 countries. This is why our governments are concluding new economic and technology agreements to write the next chapter of our joint prosperity and ensure that British and American ingenuity continues to lead the world. Our nations are combining talent and resources in the technologies of tomorrow. Our new partnerships in nuclear fusion and quantum computing and in AI and drug discovery, holding the promise of saving countless lives.
Someone has said, did he write this or does he have a speechwriter? What do you think, man?
The $430 billion
of course he has a team of speechwriters. He's the king.
That continues to grow. The $1.7 trillion in mutual investment that fuels that innovation. And the millions of jobs on both sides of the Atlantic supported across both economies. These are strong foundations on which to continue to build for generations yet unborn. Our ties in education, research, and cultural exchange empower citizens and future leaders of both countries. The Marshall Scholarship, named after the great General George Marshall, and the association of which I am so proud to be patron, are emblematic of the connection between our 2 countries. Since its founding, more than 2,300 scholarships have been awarded, opening doors for Americans from all walks of life to study at the United Kingdom's leading universities. So as we look toward the next 250 years, we must also reflect on our shared responsibility to safeguard nature, our most precious and irreplaceable asset. Millennia before our nations existed, before any border drawn, the mountains of Scotland and Appalachia were one, a single continuous range forged in the ancient collision of continents. The natural wonders of the United States of America are indeed a unique asset.
Out of all of the mouth-breathing losers in that room, J.D. Vance is the only one well-read enough to understand what the king is actually preaching here. So that's perhaps the reason why he's not clapping for some of the statements. I hate J.D. Vance, but let's be real. He's a fucking Yale-educated guy.
Roosevelt called the glorious heritage of this land's extraordinary natural splendor, on which so much of its prosperity has always depended. Yet, even as we celebrate the beauty that surrounds us, our generation must decide.
Turks are marching and protesting. Zoran, will you join?
Critical natural systems,
Mamdani manhandles Muslim Turks with means of accusation of genocide.
And essential diversity of nature. We ignore at our peril the fact that these natural systems, in other words, nature's own economy,
how dare he,
provide the foundation for our prosperity and our national security.
Yeah, that's why I'm in New York City, guys. I'm here to lobby Mamdani on behalf of the beautiful nation state of Turkey.
The story of the United Kingdom and the United States is at its heart a story of reconciliation, renewal, and remarkable partnership. From the bitter divisions of 250 years ago, we forged a friendship that has grown.
Are we all
into
watching this
one
because you don't
of
like
the
us
most
anymore?
Consequential alliances
I mean,
in
this
human
is a
history.
pretty decent speech. I want to see what he has to say. The entirety of Congress is there.
That our alliance will continue to defend our shared values.
This is a far better speech than fucking Benjamin Netanyahu.
And across the world. And
I don't agree with his glazing of the British Empire and now the American Empire, but it's still important to hear what he has to say. He's the fucking king.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, America's words carry weight and meaning, as they have since independence. The actions of this great nation matter even more.
This is
President Lincoln understood this so well.
I hope you understand,
with his
guys.
reflection
This is
in
so
the
far
magisterial Gettysburg Address.
30 minutes of him being like, come on, we have our shared values. Yeah,
say.
sure, we kill our enemies and stuff. We do empire shit, but like, stop being insane.
So to the United States of America.
This is the most polite version of a scolding.
Birthday.
Okay?
Let our two countries rededicate ourselves.
Yeah, of course, you can't
to
really
each other
understand it as a scolding because it's far too polite and not blunt enough. It's too
And
subtle.
of all the peoples of the world.
So Trump is not going to get the message
God
until
bless
the
the
media
United
goes,
States,
oh, the king
and
dunked
God
on
bless
Trump.
The United Kingdom.
Rousing address to a joint session of Congress in Washington. King Charles, the first monarch since his mother, Queen Elizabeth II.
It is really funny. I mean, look, I see the inherent irony of the king. Sure, it's a ceremonial role at this point, but still, a living, breathing monarch explaining to the American Congress that they have a duty to the Magna Carta and the shared values of freedom and democracy, that Donald Trump, they shouldn't let Donald Trump get away with behaving like a king, like a mad king. But this was, for all intents and purposes, a scolding. Very polite, very subtle scolding. A very polite, very subtle warning. It's not an accident that he brought up Magna Carta as a shared value. Okay? Donald Trump is trying to destroy due process. Donald Trump is moving in a way that is unbelievably undemocratic. This is the reason why he's doing this is what the main point of the speech was, which is, come on, we're the United Kingdom. I'm the king of the UK. I have sovereignty over the Commonwealth. We all have shared values. We're not saying don't stop murdering the Arabs, don't stop murdering the indigenous in the third world, but we are demanding you please take the democracy shit a little bit more seriously. It's fundamentally liberal, ironically enough. It's ironic because, you know, it's the king. The king is not supposed to be a liberal, right? The king is a monarch. But I guess the king is a little worried about the king-like manners of Donald Trump.
As this chamber really took in his words. The tone was light. It was hopeful, even as we face so much uncertainty abroad. And the king did not shy away from those moments. He delivered this message of unity and appreciation for the shared alliance. A message that, quite frankly, members on both sides of the aisle feel like is welcomed here. And of course, that
Donald Trump was like, nope,
I think that really
nope, you're standing next to me because I'm a little bit like a king myself. You're standing next to me because I am the king, maybe even a king of all kings, the one true king.
Be a repair for what has become a fractured relationship.
Rachel Scott in the chamber. The king did not shy away from some heavy issues at one point in the speech, talking about how leadership of this country and back home, leadership not above the law, should always be subject to questions. Referencing
again a real says you moment, ironically, to be like, I mean, this is what happened. I need you to understand what happened to the Discord. It vanished. There's an issue. I don't know. Okay, there's a fucking problem with Discord. I think you'll be okay if you don't get to talk shit in the Discord for I don't know however long it'll take. I don't know why the Discord is down. Okay, you'll be fine. Jesus Christ.
As we approach this 250th birthday, saying they are not just the natural wonders, they are also the foundation that allows us to have an economy and to have prosperity, and that they too must be protected. There were 10 standing ovations for this 28-minute speech. Robert Jobson, ABC News royal contributor. Robert, you and I have been on the air so many times over the years at these pivotal moments for the royal family. You spoke of the criticism from some back home that he was coming at this moment, that perhaps it was ill-timed. But I wonder if you took note as well that he did not shy away from some of the most challenging issues of the moment.
He certainly didn't, David. And I think what really came across in that speech was the sense of keep calm and carry on.
This guy's awesome. My favorite thing is like seeing American news broadcasters, royal contributors that you rarely ever hear from because we genuinely don't give a shit about the king or the royal family usually. This one's exceptional because he is so rotund. I thought he was American. I did not expect that gammon accent coming out of him.
I think that really that speech and the fact that it was able to, in a way, to almost unify the house, but also I think silence a few of the critics back home in Great Britain who had said, why is he coming? He shouldn't be coming. Actually, it proved exactly why he should be coming. Because he, with a deft touch and with a very powerful speech, he would have been, although it would have been prepared by the government, he would have been.
Fox News calls Jimmy Kimmel the Hassan Piker of ABC News. He's Hassan Piker with an ABC logo. Dude, oh my God. Do I have that level of motion amongst the Republican media ecosystem at this point that they just use me as a catch-all term now? You're being a real Hassan Piker right now? That's what they're doing now? Oh my God. I'm a substitute term for evil? I mean, I take this responsibility seriously. The level of motion I have now is undefeated, is unstoppable. This is an example of Fox randomly saying your name in every segment they do now.
Quote, look at Melania. So beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have the glow like an expectant widow. What else could any reasonable, sane and sober person possibly conclude except that being a call for Trump, who works as hard as anybody on the planet, appears to be in excellent health, to be suddenly dead? Jimmy Kimmel is not a comedian. You know what he is? He's Hassan Piker with an ABC logo.
What is happening?
And ABC, which might as well be called MSABC at this point, just gave him a contract extension. Quote,
what the fuck?
Look at
it's just it sucks that like the reason why they've turned me into this like evil deity is because of Israel. So none of those like liberals will ever turn around and make jokes because they also have to present me as this like untouchable figure. Because if this was over me saying like the Republicans are terrorists or whatever, then yeah, liberals don't care about that. They agree with it. They would have no issues with it. But like a lot of the prominent fixtures in liberal media also have a similar attitude about Israel that like Fox News has, you know? I have no idea how I became so infamous amongst Fox News boomers that they're now using substitute for evil. This completely defangs all your low-level haters. They must be fuming. Now they have a Nick Fuentes doesn't read as subversive when attacking you. He's just another shill in the chorus. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. Radical pikerist Raphael Warnock. Yeah. He's a real Hassan Piker, this guy. Unbelievable. Shout out to FD for this brief edit of you. Your subreddit is good sometimes. What is this? The FD signifier edit of Hassan goes pretty hard. I wish it could be turned into a full intro. What is this? Have I seen this before? Is this something I've seen already?
Accountable, such as Hassan, the biggest person in the creation space.
Hassan loves 9/11. What happened? I thought that was a successful campaign strategy, bitch.
Oh, yeah, that was... You are Hassan Piker is the new You Are Hamas. Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, look, I'm honored. I'm honored by this. Okay? They are united in their hatred of me, and I welcome their hatred. Okay? Go ahead. Keep at it. Keep at it, baby. Yeah, I mean, this is, what would you do in this situation? Blame Hassan Piker. We used to make these jokes about drama slop tubers, and it turns out mainstream media is now behaving like drama slop tubers. It's incredible. Like Fox News has officially reached drama slop tuber status. Have you considered you are simply the Hassan of Pikers? I have. Look, man, these guys are real villains, right? I must be doing something right. You got 220K views on your Bilibili comments and you being white Chinese. He really loves Bilibili. This Chinese tunic suit looks very handsome. Oh my God, Bilibili is posting the meat pic. That's crazy. The end result of this kind of media bliss just means you become as popular as AOC. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I recognize what's going on, though. It's not. It's definitely creating a unique danger in my immediate life. Van Jones did a 10-minute hit piece on me. I know. Van, dead Gaza baby Jones. Yeah. Omar Badar has already responded to some of this. Gaslighting alert. The Israeli government systematically targets women and children in its genocide, kidnaps thousands of Palestinian civilians in dungeons without charge or trial, and uses rape as a weapon against Palestinian men, women, and children. So why does Vance support it? Well, we know why he supports it. Rick Scott posted you again. Yeah, I saw this. I quote retweeted this already. Ro Khanna was asked once again about appearances that he has made with me. And he, I don't know what he said, but I replied to that. By saying, in a just world, you would be in prison. I say, it's so funny to me that everyone hears Rick Scott's desperate cries and agrees that in a just society, he'd at least be thrown in prison for doing record-breaking Medicare fraud. Here is Rick Scott crying about me or on Twitter because Ro Khanna went on Brian Kill Me and was asked about his affiliations with the radical terrorist Hassan Piker.
Okay, here's Hassan Piker and some of the things he said.
If you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. I'm pro stealing from big corporations because, you know, they steal quite a bit more from their own workers. Brian Thompson, as the United Healthcare CEO, was engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder. Virtually every American has a similar experience, a shared experience where...
Bro, The clips are getting shorter and shorter. The clips are getting shorter and shorter. At some point, they're just going to be like, I'll say, don't kill Rick Scott. And then they're just going to clip the kill Rick Scott part and be like, see? What do you think about that? They're like, look at that. We got him. We got him. Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about this, huh, Rokana? Yeah. You hear him? You hear his words?
Okay, here's Hassan Piker and some of the things he said.
They steal quite from as the was engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder. Virtually every American has a similar experience, a shared experience where they have a loved one that spent their last days instead of spending them with their family, spending it on the phone, talking to their healthcare provider.
I mean, this is just some of the stuff that he said. He says the Hezbollah flag is dope. He likes Hamas better than Republicans. Landlords are MFers. And you go and sit down with him and you put your reputation on the line and you want everybody else to take a step back?
Well, Brian, because I have said that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. I was one of the first people who condemned it.
Ban the spammer? No, this is a really good retort. Hey, Grok, why is communism, socialism, elitist, bureaucratic, and classist? This guy is now replying to my other fucking tweets with this. Like a question that he asked Grok, he's replying to my tweets with a question that he asked Grok elsewhere. Incredible work. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I didn't realize vexillology was illegal. Anyway, here this is the state of discourse nowadays. People who ask Grok questions randomly and then post the question and response.
Shooting of the United Healthcare
Beula Jr., thank you for the 20 tier 1 gifted subs.
Executive. But millions of people follow Hassan Piker. Why? Because he's speaking about some of the frustrations. He's speaking about the fact that people don't have health care in America.
Bin Laden? Did you just compare me to Osama bin Laden? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my God. The level of Islamophobia, bitch. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. What the fuck is this comparison? Bin Laden? Again, it's, oh my God. This fucking camera keeps falling. Oh, it's too heavy. Ugh. Okay, this is a little bit better. Did he pick Bin Laden because he's racist? Because he could have said Hitler? I mean, that wouldn't have been great either, but I assume Bin Laden is a not so subtle reference to, me being Muslim. He's like, yeah, well, this fucking, Bin Laden had a lot of followers. Would you fucking have Bin Laden on the broadcast too? Two guys that love doing 9/11s on American soil. This Islamic style commie, just like Bin Laden.
America. Well, there are a lot of people on the podcast world, et cetera, who say things that are outrageous or sensationalist, and I push back when you do that. But we have to understand the anger in this country of people who feel they can't buy a house, they can't afford gas, they can't have health care, they're upset at the system. It's one of the reasons Trump won twice, and we have to engage while condemning the violence. But if you look at, I never engage in approving of violence, approving of the incitement of violence, and I'll condemn it when I hear it.
Congressman, I just can't believe you choose to go on. I mean, Cory Booker and others have not.
Yeah, he's going on your show, dumbass. You literally said you want to murder every homeless person. What are you talking about? You fantasized on, not this show, but on this network about how you had an appetite that was insatiable for the murder of the homeless. Okay? Again, if he's going on your show, I don't think you have a leg to stand on here. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Excellent pushback. I mean, seriously. I swear to God, what looked like Jimmy Patronis' Florida 1 District handed Camilla a weird-ass object. She was going down the aisle. Check out 1 minute. Okay, dude. Okay, calm down, all right? Stop panicking. It's probably fine. Anyway, so that was the good-natured Brian Kilme, who wants to murder the homeless, talking about how scary I am and how violent my commentary is. Is tonight Hannity night? No, it's not. No, it's not Hannity night yet. Anyway, here was Trump's speech. Now that you listened to, now that you heard from the king, let's hear from our American king, who is maybe not so verbose.
The centuries since we won our independence, Americans have had no closer friends than the British. We share that same root. We speak the same language. We hold the same values. And together our warriors have defended the same extraordinary civilization under twin banners of red, white, and blue. My wonderful mother, Mary MacLeod, was born in Stornoway, Scotland, the Hebrides, and that's what they call very serious Scotland. There's no question about it. Some places they say, well, it wasn't really Scotland. The Hebrides, that's real serious Scotland. That's where they had their greatest of warriors, their greatest of warriors. She came to America at 19, met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him. We loved her. We loved him, Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way. We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well. 63 years. And my mother, I just see it so clearly. She loved, and I told the king this, she loved the royal family. And she loved the Queen. And anytime the Queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, my mother would be glued to the television and she'd say, look, Donald, look how beautiful that is. She really did love the family, but I also remember her saying very clearly, Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute. My mother.
Wow. He's a fantastic yapper. Fantastic yapper. He made a joke that he's going to die soon. I mean, he does. He makes those jokes all the time. Isn't Fox News in New York City? You should go on. Buddy, that's not how this works, okay? I don't just decide to appear on Fox News and then they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." First of all, Fox News has a similar attitude to Asmongold. Not only are they identical in their worldview, but they're also identical in their cowardice. They would much rather clip me out of context and address the clips instead of actually have me appear on their broadcast, because God forbid I might convince some of their fucking followers. Okay? When is the Sean Hannity podcast? It's next month, I think, or the end of it's going to be next month, most likely. Yeah, I'll just pull up to the Fox News building and be like, yo, what's up? Have me on right now. I'm Brian Kilme. I'm Brian Kill Myself. Anyway, yeah, leftist on Twitter. Why, yes, I do organize and do direct action. For example, my Marxist book club /Polycule meets once every other week to debate whether COVID masking is still centrist liberals on blue sky. We must do an armed insurrection, armed rebellion now. It is the only honorable option. I got a nipple ring just because of you. Okay. That's good to know, Rose, all day. Thank you for telling us that. Yeah, a centrist revolution is upon us. Heated clash, Top Dem pressed on controversial podcast appearance. I guess, wait, is this the fucking Ro Khanna? Oh, God. It was 8 long
Political
minutes.
Violence and rhetoric has got to stop. And that's something President Trump said right after the incident on Saturday night. When you have reporters, when you have media just being overly critical and calling the president horrible names for no reason and without evidence, without proof, it shouldn't surprise us that this type of rhetoric takes place.
And that was Todd Blanche, the acting Attorney General, yesterday. Saturday shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, prompting more calls to end political violence and the rhetoric fueling it. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna is pushing for a bipartisan commission to end political violence, and he joins us now. Congressman, how would this look? How would this go forward? Are you going to analyze it? Are you going to set up a criteria or a marching orders or a to-do list?
Well, it's first an acknowledgement that political violence is out of hand, that it is affecting people in both parties, that we both parties have a responsibility to address it. There should be a national commission, and we can look at concrete things. One, the role that social media is playing in amplifying the most sensational, outrageous content that sometimes incites violence. Second, looking at mental health issues. Third, looking at how we can have intervention when you have someone sick, like the person who was tried the attempted assassination on the president and his cabinet. How do we get earlier intervention? And finally, what are the standards of how we can all do better in our political rhetoric without violating the First Amendment? We want robust speech. People should be able to criticize me, but there's a difference between criticism and the incitement of violence.
Right. I agree. I think the sentiment is widespread, although it didn't seem like it was being embraced by Hakeem Jeffries yesterday.
Get out of my city. You not from New York City, get out. Buddy, I played a role in getting your current mayor elected, okay? You can't be out here saying stuff like that. You can't be out here talking this big shit, okay? It's our city, comrade.
But, Congressman, do you think it was a good move to have that spirit of what you just said and sit down with somebody like Hassan Piker?
Well, look, Hassan Piker is part of the First Amendment. I go on Sean Ryan. I've gone on Flagrant. I've gone on Hassan Piker. I go left, right. People criticize me for coming on Fox News. Not that I'm comparing you to other podcasts, but I have...
You should, because I demonstrably am not anywhere near as toxic, as repulsive, as cancerous a fixture in American politics as Fox News is. I guess when he says, I'm not comparing you guys to podcasters, he means you guys are much worse. Right? You're in the Constitution? Yeah. Well, that's an elected representative saying my name is in the Constitution now. That's how it works. That means I'm the First Amendment. I am now the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Condemned unequivocally the idea that America somehow deserved 9/11. Of course we didn't. It was a terrorist attack by al-Qaeda. I've condemned the idea that anyone would threaten the life of a sitting senator. I disagree with Senator Scott. Of course he should be safe. So one can have conversations, but condemn any incitement to violence.
You really think that? Okay, here's Hassan Piker.
Yeah, he does the clip copy, and then he responds.
But millions of people follow Hassan Piker. Why? Because he's speaking about...
And then he turns around and says, well, millions of people follow Osama bin Laden. Would you go on his podcast too? Like a fucking idiot.
Somehow and I push back by a house. They can't afford gas. They can't have health care. They're upset at the system. It's one of the reasons Trump won twice. And we have to engage while condemning the violence. But if you look at, I never engage in approving of violence, approving of the incitement of violence, and I'll condemn it.
You shouldn't allow him back on your stream if he's going to throw you under the bus. He needs you. You don't need him. Bro really isn't defending you, though, no? Yeah, his defense of me is, again, very like... his quote-unquote defense of me is more so a defense of, like, appearing alongside me. Right? It's fine. I do think it's a little silly. Like... My expectation isn't for elected representatives to know exactly the context of all these out of context clips that they're fucking using. But it is to say, look, man, like, I don't agree with everything that this guy says, but at the end of the day, he has a right to say it. And the reality of the matter is, you guys know that too. You guys embody that spirit, right? You hate cancel culture. And here you are. using clips out of context against the dude who speaks for 8 hours a day on hot button issues. You yourself, Brian Kilmeade, have openly stated, unprompted, that you wanted to murder homeless people. And here I am on your broadcast. I'm appearing on Fox News. Right? Enough with this nonsense. The cancel culture is universally opposed for good reason. You can't, on the one hand, say you hate cancel culture, and then on the other hand, utilize the exact same techniques that you opposed that allowed Trump to win the election. It's so cynical. There's a major double standard here. And you guys are leaning into it. They would never invite him back. Yes, they would. That clip would do numbers. That clip would, the first representative that brings up this double standard will get LeBron numbers, okay? Are you kidding me? Liberals would love that. Liberals love the hypocrisy arguments, and there is nothing more hypocritical than an entire movement that runs around with this like anti-cancel culture initiative only to turn around and do the exact same thing. Habibi, out of context is wild. When you said America deserved 9/11, what context is missing? We're not talking about that, you fucking baboon. You fucking donkey. You fucking moron. Is that what he was talking about here? You fucking dingus. He's making it seem like I'm pro-murdering Brian Thompson, you fucking idiot. God, I have such little respect for you. I have no respect for you at all. Don't ever fucking call me Habibi, okay? You moron. Are we supposed to do this every time? Are we supposed to do this song and dance every time? Do you want me to do that every time to like explain that analysis does not equal endorsement? You know, pretty basic stuff overall. That if you chop up someone's statements down to 2 seconds, you can make them appear as though they're in support of anything on the fucking planet. Here, let me do that to you right now, okay? Imagine, out of context, okay? You just said, if I just chopped it up to America deserved 9/11, boom, all of a sudden, you have now said America deserved 9/11. Is that, do you understand? Why did you say America deserved 9/11? Pixel. Why are you in support of 9/11? Why do you want to do 9/11 again? Here you are saying Habibi as well. Very Arab. How Arab of you. Do you understand? It's really fucked up, chatter, that you said America deserved 9/11. Here, take a day off. Stupid. Alert the authorities.
When I hear it.
Congressman, I just can't believe you choose to go on. I mean, Cory Booker and others have not. But I do want to ask you about DHS funding because it's really important. While we try to get the rhetoric down and people safe, DHS is not funded. Border Patrol is not funded.
Yeah. Now that we got through the most important story, let's talk about DHS funding. Yeah, now they love Cory Booker because Cory Booker said he wouldn't go on the stream. All right, what's next?
Despite the videos and the accounts of what happened Saturday night.
I love these guys complaining about conspiracy theories, by the way. It's so funny to me when they're like, wow, can you believe it? Liberals are coming up with conspiracy theories about a shooting that took place. And I mean, it wasn't like no one died.
Conspiracy theories are now running.
This one's not on YouTube. Dem strategists went on Fox News to slam Democrats for associating with me. Oh my God, another one of these like cucks.
Streamer Hassan Piker. And Hassan Piker says he loves stealing. Watch.
I think it's cool. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that, like, you know, bank robberies, right? Stealing priceless artifacts, things of that nature. I feel like that's way cooler than the 7,000th new cryptocurrency scheme that people are engaging in.
I sometimes wonder if they're doing this as an exercise to see how dumb their audience is. Like to see if there's any pushback on something that is so clearly said in jest, like so clearly a fucking joke. I wonder if they're doing it on purpose to be like, no, you guys are hogs. You're at the trough and we're feeding you garbage.
I'm pro stealing from big corporations because, you know, they steal quite a bit more from their own workers.
So, Is it the right move for Democrats like these to associate with this podcaster? Michael LaRosa is a Democratic strategist and the former press secretary to Jill Biden. And we love having him on the show, and he joins us now in studio. Thanks for coming all the way over.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about, for those who don't know who Hasan Piker is, maybe it might be good for us just to show this clip really quick.
It's funny because, like, at a time when the average radical centrist Democrat is literally trying to kill the president, okay? That's how angry and frustrated the average Democrat voter is, like lifelong Democrat voter is. That's how much they oppose the current administration, okay? These guys are like, oh, well, as a Democratic Party consultant, I think we can find bipartisan consensus here. Like, what are we doing? Do we have to suspend our disbelief for a moment and assume that Fox News cares about the future of the Democratic Party? Talk about a guy who doesn't read the fucking room. Any Democratic consultant that goes on Fox News to defend whatever Fox News is cooking up is not a real Democratic consultant. They're a consultant for the oligarchs who are bipartisan, who don't care about whichever party gains their loyalty because their goals are the same at the end of the day.
This is his reaction to the execution, really, in the streets of CEO Brian Thompson. Watch.
Brian Thompson, as the United Healthcare CEO, was engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder. Virtually every American has a similar experience, a shared experience, where they have a loved one that spent their last days, instead of spending them with their family, spending it on the phone, talking to their healthcare provider, to maybe get a little bit of economic respite. That is the reason why I think the reaction to Luigi Mangione, especially by younger generations, was not so negative.
All right, Michael, he's a Luigi Mangione fan. What do you make of this?
Well,
is this what you guys want for the party?
No, well, it's not what I want. That's disgusting talk. And, I have to be honest with you. You could waterboard me all day, and I couldn't tell you anything about this guy. I had to Google him a couple weeks ago. But the fact that people are paying attention to him, I think we embrace him at our own peril. The vast majority of Democratic primary voters, they're just normal, common sense people. I mean, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren,
Yeah, normal, common sense people. You know who else made that same take about the devastation born out of paywalling healthcare, for-profit healthcare insurance companies? Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is not exactly a fan of mine, okay? As a matter of fact, I don't think she likes me at all. Okay? And she also recognized that there was tremendous anger in the air due to the experiences that ordinary Americans have had with private healthcare providers. Private health insurance is viewed very negatively by the average American. You don't have to be a Democratic Party consultant to recognize that. But I guess if you are a paid shill for these corporations, you're paid to act obtuse intentionally, to act oblivious to this reality, the reality that the average American actually despises private health care.
They could not make the case for themselves in a Democratic primary. So I look at the faces on the screen there, and I think, oh, well, good luck. Joe Biden, it took him a couple contests, but in the end, the voters of the Democratic Party just want normal, common sense representation. And I think that's why they went with Biden. That's why we traditionally do go with a more mainstream candidate. I won't say moderate, but I'll say mainstream.
What is this graphic, bro? Oh my God. Oh my God. What the hell is happening, bro?
Mainstream candidate. And I believe that Democrats will do the same.
So maybe the voters are there. But this man Hasan Piker, has been embraced by the New York Times, by sort of like the elites in the party in some way. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, they're doing this because they understood the impact of the manosphere, the male podcast world really helped.
By the way, it is really funny because this is exactly what liberal media did for years and years to the manosphere, constantly complaining about them, demanding that Democrats don't actually touch the manosphere with a 10-foot pole, and constantly chirping about it. Now, of course, there's plenty of things that members of the manosphere have said that are unbelievably repulsive in comparison to like clips that they take of me out of context to be like, oh, see, Hassan is doing systemic analysis. Clearly, that means it's an endorsement of mass theft and bloody murder in the streets. Like all this stuff is exactly what liberals did for the longest fucking time. And then they learned, I think, from that lesson that they can't just like avoid these independent circles, right? They can't avoid these independent media outlets because that's where the eyeballs are.
Trump, and they think maybe.
But I don't have an issue with this graphic because these are some of the best. These are some of the best politicians in the country right now, with the exception of these last two, right? Who said they'd be willing to appear on my live stream. Again, no invites have been sent out except for Gavin Newsom. But like here, let's cut this part out. But yeah, like look at this. Does Hassan follow the Dre dossier at Substack.com? No. Also, it's fucked up that Ilhan Omar is not on this list. This list is also international. Leader of the LFI, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, is a member of this list. Zach Polanski, the head of the Green Party, is a member on this list as well. I say this is a pretty fucking solid list. Yanis Varoufakis, Keith Ellison, there's more. But yeah, some of these are unbelievably popular figures, like Bernie Sanders, Zohran Mamdani. These are unfathomably popular figures. Avi Lewis, we'll have Avi Lewis on as well eventually. Talked to him before he became the head of NDP. I was trying to link up with him and his wife when I was in their neighborhood. It didn't end up happening. I think this is a disciplining operation in some respects, or at least the Democrats are treating it as a disciplining operation. They can't yell at every single fucking voter, so they have to like yell at a person that they have figured out is a easier target than like basically yelling at their voters for having similar opinions, right? They're trying to scold the base of support. But I think the reason why the Republicans are doing this is because they're also worried. They're worried about left populism growing in the country.
They're Rogan, and so they embrace him instead of do what you're doing, which is criticize them.
Yeah, and I think that that would be a mistake to interpret the election as if the podcast was the only thing that made Trump appealing to
I didn't say that, for the record. I said the exact opposite.
Voters, or that made Kamala Harris less appealing. It's not that podcasts were the secret sauce. It was that Trump made himself available and accessible to everyone. He held press conferences. You talked about it earlier in your show.
Yeah.
His accessibility, it took 2 months before Kamala Harris could even do a press interview.
Right.
And that's what killed her. It was the appearance and the perception that she was hiding something. And so the New York Times, by platforming people like that, I'm a little shocked because I read the New York Times. I'm one of those Democrats who still admires the Times and reads it and respects it. But I don't understand the platforming or why somebody like that is worth the platform of the New York Times.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens here, but it is an interesting development. We'll see if the common sense Democrat.
I mean, yeah, you're on fucking Fox News agreeing with Fox News. If you are a Democratic Party consultant in any way, shape, or form, you should not find yourself on Fox News agreeing with Fox News at all. Yeah, by the way, this is now the third or fourth poll showing Abdul making demonstrable gains in the wake of the Epic Hassan freakout. He still has a long way to go, but it was clearly a blunder on the part of the establishment and one that could gain permanently Abdul massive attentional strength. U.S. Senate Michigan Democratic primary polling average from race to the White House, 428, 2026. Abdul El-Sayed at 23.3. Mallory McMorrow at 21.3. Abdul El-Sayed taking the lead here on this poll. Okay. Abdul El-Sayed also just secured the endorsement of the National Nurses United, 225,000 members. He's the only Michigan Senate Dem backing Medicare for all. Elites have done the Streisand effect so many times that it beggars the imagination that they still believe the strat works. I think it would have worked. Here's how it would have worked, okay? I'll be very honest with you. If after this like wave of negative fake controversy, I, hid away and the only information you could find on me wasn't my past library of commentary, but instead what people have said about me, right? But that's not how that works because I'm a media figure myself. Then it would have worked. If I was a, student protester that they were disparaging this aggressively, then yes, it would have worked because student protesters on college campuses don't have major media platforms. They can't defend themselves. That's number one. Number two, you a scary chicken and you know it. I'm a scary chicken? I'm a chicken with scars? Sure. Okay. Number two, it also would have been effective if Abdul El-Sayed or numerous other figures that I've appeared with backed away and were like, I'm so sorry that we did this. That would have been somewhat annoying for me to deal with, but it also would have made them look bad. Not because I have like a large audience of like sycophants who would have punished these candidates or anything like that, right? But the reason why that would have looked bad is because then they would have admitted guilt for no fucking reason, okay? It would have made them look weak. It would have made them admit guilt for no real reason. And it would have become a real controversy. But it's not a real controversy. It's one that just invites more attention to the candidates now who can just stand on their principles and say, look, I have a principled stance I'm not inconsistent on this, that I'll go to anyone and talk to anyone, right? Two, these are some of the issues that I care about. He aligns with me on those issues. I agree with him on, some of the things. I disagree with him on others. Who cares? It shows that you are open-minded. Okay? And last but not least, they're not backing down from cynical lines of attack. It's good. Them not distancing themselves also gives the freedom to other progressive Dems to say, nah, fuck that. I'm not stepping away. Exactly. I sent my parents who are Cuban-American Republicans who watch Fox News, your Cuba mini doc, and they were both blown away. They didn't believe you were the same guy Fox was talking about. Yeah. There's another Senate poll that came out showing Stevens in the lead, which is crazy, unbelievable. But El-Sayed at 23 to Stevens at 25, McMorrow at 16. Okay? This is really good. Within striking distance, within a margin of error. I don't believe any of the polls that show Stevens in the lead, I'll be honest with you. I feel like those are base boosted. I don't know how the fuck they're polling. Because there's no way in, like, I will tell you right now, I do not think Stevens has a shot. I don't think Stevens has a shot at winning the primary, and I don't think she has a shot at winning the general. Okay? If by some insane stroke of misfortune, Haley Stevens wins the primary, I would obviously be devastated because Abdul is fantastic, and it would be a massive miss for American democracy. But it would also mean that I just genuinely don't understand the electorate at all. Like because I understand certain things, right? If you have more money, which Stevens certainly does, and you get the machine, the Democratic Party machine on your side, which Stevens also has, then yeah, you get plenty of advantages in a race. But Haley Stevens is such a black hole of charisma. So unbelievably bad as a politician that even all of those structural aides is not going to make up for that clear distinction between her and even McMorrow. I'm not even talking about Abdul in this situation. Abdul is a league, many leagues above Haley Stevens as far as like a charismatic orator. But I genuinely don't understand why anyone would vote for her. I don't get it. I don't understand it. In any case, let's get to Fox News now complaining about liberals engaging in conspiracy theories. Fox News, once again, Fox News is famous for trafficking in conspiracies in the aftermath of every single mass shooting, every single violent incident. Fox News is right there, ready to lie about what actually took place. And now they're complaining that the liberals are doing the same. Let's take a look.
Rampant on social media. Some accounts are even questioning whether the entire thing was staged, much like they did the assassination attempt in Butler. The Washington Post says this, quote, about a fifth of the left-wing and liberal influencers and politicians who posted about the shooting used conspiratorial language, according to a Post analysis of social media posts and podcasts.
Oh, just nonsense. Hugh Hewitt is tearing into the media's coverage on this, writing on Fox Digital, Trump saw what the Truth Legacy media missed. Sick minds are fueling violence. He joins us in moments with more.
First, now we go to Justice correspondent David Spunt. He's got an update on the suspect live right here in the D.C. newsroom. Hi, David.
Hi, Jillian and John. Well, the suspect is sitting behind bars right now waiting for a detention hearing. That's going to happen on Thursday. If convicted after trial, Cole Allen could spend the rest of his life in prison. More charges are also expected in this case as new evidence comes to light.
Make no mistake, this was an attempted assassination.
The 31-year-old from Southern California, who authorities say stormed through a security checkpoint at that dinner on Saturday, also facing charges of transportation of a firearm in interstate commerce and discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence. Authorities say that Allen, transporting weapons he purchased in California, took a train from California to Washington, D.C. last week. Fox is told he checked into the Washington Hilton Hotel just one day before the dinner, was armed with a 12-gauge pump action shotgun, a .38 semi-automatic.
Oh, I didn't realize transporting firearms was illegal. I didn't realize I was living in communist China. Oh, I'm sorry. It's illegal to transport my God-given firearms and my God-given rights that I'm exercising in God's favored country, the United States of America. I didn't realize this was communist China, brother. Did you cover UAE leaving OPEC? No, dude, not yet. Okay, not yet. I will get to it. God damn.
3 knives when he made his move.
I love these chatters, though. Like the chatters who are like, I am aching for geopolitical analysis. Dude, I need to know what the fuck is going on in the Hormuzzi, okay? We are situation monitoring enjoyers.
We are investigating this matter fully. We will apply the law fairly, and we will ensure that accountability is swift and certain.
According to the criminal complaint released less than 24 hours ago at 8:40 Saturday evening, Allen, knowing the president and first lady were already seated in the ballroom, approached security, ran through the magnetometer as seen on the surveillance footage right there. The complaint alleges that Secret Service heard a loud gunshot. One officer was shot in the chest but was wearing a bulletproof vest and survived.
Let this be a message to anyone who thinks that Washington, D.C. is the place to act out political violence. And if you are willing to do so with a firearm and cross state lines, we will find you.
Cole Allen is back in federal court on Thursday, where the government will argue why he should remain held in jail until trial. At this point, he does not have private counsel. He's represented by 2 federal public defenders. Jillian, John.
David, are you hearing anything from your sources? We have not officially about the investigation into who exactly shot the Secret Service agent who was wounded?
It's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up. It's unclear right now. It's something we've asked DOJ officials. The deputy, or I don't want to say the former deputy attorney general, now the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, asked yesterday. The way that it's written in the criminal complaint is very careful to say that the Secret Service heard gunshots, and then a Secret Service agent was hit in the chest. Luckily, that agent survived. That agent had a bulletproof vest on, the initials VG of that agent, but it's still not clear. And we asked as journalists point blank who shot the Secret Service agent. Right now, they say that's still under ballistic testing going on at Quantico, Virginia.
All right. Well, David, keep us posted. We will check back with you as needed this afternoon. Thanks very much for kicking us off, John.
All right, let's bring in Hugh Hewitt, Fox News contributor and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show, to delve into this more. So 3 attempts against President Trump's life in the past 2 years. That is not a coincidence by any means. What do you think is driving it?
The internet is driving it. President Trump's interview on Sunday night, he referred to the shooter as unbalanced, as troubled, as sick. He's right about that. But then we have to step back and ask, what is fueling this generally, whether it is Butler, whether it's the guy in the tree in the Florida golf course, the killer of Charlie Kirk. And then if you go way back, John, 10 years, and I'm sure you'll remember it, not sure Jillian will, 10 years ago, an unbalanced man with a gun stormed the Comet Ping Pong Pizza, 3 miles away from the Washington Hilton. He was going to avenge Pizzagate. And it turns out he'd been living on the internet and he'd swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and he thought there were children.
Yeah, who could? Yeah. Which movement fueled these sorts of conspiracy theories? We're all trying to find out the guy who did this, you know? Wow. Which president has actually sincerely leaned into QAnon, like made direct references to that same movement that this guy is now shitting on? Oh, that's right. That was Donald Trump. Donald Trump, on numerous occasions, has actually offered straight up direct dog whistles to the QAnon movement. What's next, dude? You're going to be like, yeah, unbelievably violent sentiment coming from Republicans probably caused the Minneapolis shooter to go and kill Democratic legislators. Like, who's doing it? I wonder. Who's fucking doing that? Which movement has been doing that? Yeah, I refuse to be lectured about conspiracy theories by a guy that thinks the 2020 election was stolen. God damn it, Twitter. I don't fucking want to download it as an app. What is this bullshit? Every time I click on a new Twitter link, it's going to try to force me to download this fucking app? Is that what's going on? I refuse to be lectured about conspiracy theories by a guy that thinks the 2020 election was stolen and whose employer had to pay an $800 million legal settlement for pushing conspiracy theories. Arrest warrant issued for former FBI Director James Comey. Nice. Yeah, Guy Benson, Fox News political analyst, complaining about conspiracies. Nearly half of American leftists believe the Butler assassination attempt, which killed someone, was a false flag inside job. Insane conspiracy nuttery. One of those leftists, it turns out, is the guy who tried to finish the job at the White House Correspondents' Dinner per CNN reporting. It's for the 8647 post, by the way. I'm not lying. Yeah, unbelievable. Ken Clip also showed in a new article he hated the Dems too. All right, I'll look at this. This is kind of like Ben Shapiro thinking he could do unlimited racism and it wouldn't backfire. Yeah, no, it is exactly that. It's leopards eating their own fucking faces. And guess what? They don't like it. They don't like it one bit. Megyn Kelly, the left, and Hassan Piker don't just justify political violence. They celebrate it. Oh my God. Fucking motionless. I don't care about this. This is the dangerous radical terrorist tearing the nation apart. Got some creatine. Slammed a okay, dude. Yes, I'm jorking it. I'm jorking my peanuts. Did you talk about the shooter brother warning the police he was coming? Yeah, I covered it the day of, or the next day. Hold on, where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, let's continue with this.
In the Comet Ping Pong Pizza, he was sentenced to 4 years in jail by now Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, but it was because of the waters in which he swam, and very quickly those waters, 4chan, QAnon, became off limits to anyone who was serious. You couldn't quote him, you couldn't be on him, you couldn't think about him.
Yep.
What are you saying? The president, literally, the president of the United States of America, the current president of the United States of America, straight up was leaning into the QAnon conspiracies. He appointed a QAnon conspiracy theorist to be the director of the FBI. He appointed another QAnon conspiracist who also happens to be a Fox News anchor as well, Dan fucking Bongino, as the deputy director of the FBI. What are you talking about? The idea that the Republicans shied away in any way, shape, or form from the QAnon conspiracy is laughable. Not only is it laughable, but it goes far beyond the QAnon conspiracy theories. Donald Trump and Fox News is responsible for the conspiracy that the 2020 election was stolen. Donald Trump was so responsible for that he actually tuned up his entire fan base, HVAC business owners from all around the country, into flying to Washington, D.C. to try to do an insurrection. Okay? He didn't just form the conspiracy and give it shape, but he also fomented the anger and then tried to use that anger to do an insurrection. Now, it doesn't end there. Okay? Fox News knew that this was a lie, as we now know, because they were, texting one another about how much they were fucking lying about this conspiracy theory. But Fox News, why do we know about this? Because Fox News got sued by Dominion to the tune of $800 million. Fox News was sued by Dominion successfully and was awarded, or not Fox News was awarded, but Dominion was awarded $800 million. Okay? For openly and knowingly lying about the election being stolen. So what are you saying when you're talking about, oh, well, the conspiracies are running amok nowadays, it's crazy? No, you're just pissed that liberals are doing it. And it's not liberal mainstream outlets doing it in the same way that Fox News does it with regular frequency and still does it to this day. In the aftermath of every single shooting, Fox News, alongside the entire independent right-wing commentary circuit, will lie and say, oh, this is another transgender Antifa shooter. They openly trade in conspiracies every single time there's a breaking news event. Every single time. Okay? This is even more unbelievable than them complaining about violent political language. Okay? It's even less believable. You have no leg to stand on, man. What are you fucking saying? This should be read as them upset that they can't entertain conspiracy theories to the same success as they once enjoyed. Partially because now liberals have lost their dang minds too, and they're so frustrated, they're so rudderless, they're so angry that they're like, yeah, it must be a conspiracy. It must be for the ballroom. Part of the reason why they also feel that it must be for the ballroom, and I do kind of understand where liberals are coming from with this, is because the entirety of the right-wing media ecosystem, alongside John Fetterman, who's also a part of the right-wing media ecosystem, let's be real, came out in unison and said, this is why we need a ballroom. What the fuck is the expectation when you see every single conservative media figure alongside conservative legislators coming out and saying, this is why we need to fucking build a ballroom? Of course people are going to be like, that's weird. That's a strange thing. What? That's not my first opinion that's not my first reaction when I see yet another assassination attempt on the president. I don't just go, oh, it's time for the ballroom. Like, that's a very weird response. It's a very weird and very clearly coordinated response. So, of course, people are going to look at that and go, that's odd. Well, I guess, here he goes again, faking another assassination attempt.
Good. I'd never heard of him anyway, but we were learning that. Now, will that happen to the waters in which this would-be statement killer swam? Specifically, no Kings rally, crazy left-wing rhetoric from Hassan Piker. Will they be as shunned as the Comet Pizza shooters environment was shunned 10 years ago? We have to wait and see.
Yeah, except you're basically giving the game away, even though there's no equivalence here between someone like myself and like fucking Alex Jones. You're unironically showing that it's successful if Democrats do lean into this shit. Okay? Like, Steve Bannon is Mr. QAnon. Steve Bannon is Mr. QAnon. Steve Bannon is still someone who is welcome in the White House. Steve Bannon also was an ally to Jeffrey Epstein. What are you saying? This is, you know what this reminds me of in some ways? It reminds me of America being like, whoa, 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 you're not supposed to attack our military bases in the Gulf states. What are you doing? Like when America or Israel finally meets a country that's like willing to fight back, they're like, what? That's illegal. What the fuck? What do you mean you're blowing up our radar systems? Wait, don't you know that's not in the rules? Excuse me. Only we get to blow up whatever the fuck we want to blow up. I treat a lot of these mentions by Fox News and also many prominent, right-wing Democrats as people playing a role in operating as AIPAC stooges in American mainstream media. Okay, the reason why I'm getting attacked this much is because of AIPAC. It's because of Israel. Let's be real. As a prominent critic of Israel, a lot of Democrats are very frustrated that their base has moved on from the issue of Israel. They no longer have control over it. And it's the same with the Republicans too. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about prominent Democrats leaning into someone like myself to gain credibility on the issue of Israel. That is what they're afraid of, because everyone fucking knows behind closed doors that Israel is despised by large majorities of the American population. That's it.
These protesters just appear to kind of lose their minds in public. I saw a video of a woman on Saturday night. She tried to get close to the president's motorcade. The police pushed her back behind the barricades. Then she started screaming F you in the face of any police officer there. And they eventually said, you know what, lady, we've had enough of this. They arrested her and took her away. I mean, there's a long history of this. Predates the internet by decades, hundreds of years. Oh, yeah. Long histories of assassinations and attempts in this country. Abraham.
It's so funny that they have to be like the rational, the rational party here. Oh, it's awesome. They're on the back foot, man. They're having to engage in a defensive posture. What is this? Fresh hells. Never seen before. If Google chooses to ethically drop out, Google drops out of Pentagon contest, develop voice-controlled autonomous drone swarms after internal ethics review. Oh my God, what the fuck are they doing?
Lincoln, James Garfield, William McKinley, John F. Kennedy, they were all assassinated. Attempts on Andrew Jackson, he was the first, 1835. Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford, 2 attempts in 17 days. Ronald Reagan, of course, at the same hotel, 1981. And then the 3 attempts against President Trump, 2 in 2024, 1 in 2026. I mean, this is a toxic environment for American presidents going back to almost the founding of this country. And maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's the internet now, but I mean, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, there's always a temptation for people to make themselves famous. Charles Guiteau going after James Garfield, fabulous series on that recently. In the Republic of Georgia, we can't forget, disgruntled somebody threw a hand grenade at George W. Bush. Thank goodness it did not go off. So there have been these threats forever. But I do believe that the internet, I'm going to quote John Podhoretz of commentary here, allows those people who ought not to come together to come together. It allows subgroups to find, match, and plot. It allows crazy people to feed each other's mythologies and fantasies, often violent. It allows them to build the building blocks of extreme action, and they become Robespierre. They become 1789 in Paris, and the terror begins. What we have to do, what those police did to that demonstrator, is renew the enforcement of assault, which is the justifiable apprehension of an unpermitted touching. It's a felony in almost every jurisdiction. It's a misdemeanor in every jurisdiction. We have to start arresting people for assault. Doesn't require touching. That's battery. But an unpermitted touching is an assault or legitimate apprehension of it. We have to start arresting people, and we have to start throwing people out of colleges and classrooms who are marginal and weird, because we can't let our kids be taught by them.
Yeah, you know, there's all of these conspiracy theories that have been surrounding President Trump since the first shooting in Butler, and now even some members of Congress appear to be entertaining it. Listen to what Jasmine Crockett posted on her X account. She said, has there ever been a president have this many close attempts on their life? Maybe it's lax gun laws, maybe it's lack of mental health funding, or maybe it's fake. Who knows? Maybe it's fake? I mean, I was there, and that was not fake.
Oh.
John, I haven't gotten in 10
Oh, you're mad? Oh, no. I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe people are skeptical.
years. It's not my thing. So I'm glad you were safe, but everybody knows it's not fake. Jasmine Crockett knows it's not fake. That's the attention economy. That's the monetization of rage. That's the clickbait that keeps her in the public eye. That is the damning part of the internet. People get rewarded for being outrageous, and to keep that up, you got to say more and more outrageous things until suddenly you've got Hassan Piker campaigning with El Sayed in Michigan. The
What the fuck does that have to do with anything, man? It's so funny. These guys get mad at me when they're talking about like conspiracies are bubbling up when I'm like I'm the last remaining anti-conspiracy theory guy on any side. Like, that's what's so fucking nutty. They bring up my name like they have a contractual obligation.
Would-be Senate nominee, and you've got real trouble on your hands. So it is for you and for me and for everyone with a platform, whether on radio or television, to simply call out those who are crazy and dealing in conspiracy theories and say, you're crazy, you're dealing with a conspiracy theory, I'm not giving you the time of day. That includes Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, you say that you haven't gone
Jasmine
into
Crockett.
Into this country. Now to the assassination party. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
They're calling the
Now,
Democrats
he's one of the, I think, most beloved figures in the entertainment industry, mainly because he's a trusted
They're calling the Democrats the assassination party.
source of poisonous anti-Trump rhetoric.
This morning on the freshly paved over Rose Garden, our commander-in-chief presided over an important American tradition, the annual pardon of the turkeys. See, fascists have fun, too. It's fun. And I know a lot of people have been comparing.
Yeah, they're so mad that like people keep calling Trump a fascist or a Nazi. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, he should stop being a Nazi or a fascist, and then people will stop calling him that. It's a time-honored tradition, man. It's a time-honored tradition. Okay? Dare I say a socialist tradition, certainly an anti-imperialist tradition, to call American presidents Nazis. Okay? Republicans did it to every single Democratic president, and many people all around the world unconditionally say it to every single American president, right? Democrat or Republican, it doesn't really matter. With some exceptions. But it's very funny now that like we can't even fucking say it. We can't say an American president that's behaving like a fascist is a fascist. It's unacceptable. Oh, you want him to die. It's like, no, I just want him to stop being a fucking fascist. That's what I want.
Trump to Hitler lately, but there's some major differences between, for instance, Hitler was married to a woman who loved him. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them.
Of course, Kimmel's more of a frustrated MS Now pundit than a comedian at this point, unless you think assassination is funny. This was the ABC star just 2 days before the third attempt on Trump's life.
We're going to have fun tonight, and I'm happy you decided to stay, Mr. President. And don't worry, if we bruise your ego, it'll only make your hands look less disgusting. You're looking good, though, Mr. President. Who did your...
Unless you're Zoran, then you could say it to his face even. I know. The mileage that this man gets, the allowance that this man has.
Makeup craft singles. First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Deeply unfunny, man. Just when you thought they couldn't get any lower. Yeah, First Lady comment. I wonder if Cole Thomas Allen was watching. The language in the suspect's manifesto echoes what we hear regularly unleashed against the president. It's now become normalized. But after being targeted herself Saturday night, Melania has had just about enough. Posting on X, people like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It's time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Well, President Trump echoed her statement and saying outright that Kimmel should be fired. Now, imagine what the Democrats would have done.
Do you realize that Jimmy Kimmel is the Hassan Piker of ABC? I know.
If there had been not one, not two, but 3 attempts on the life of Barack Obama, they probably would have...
Wait, there were. What are you talking about? There was like, I think there was 11 total attempts on Barack Obama's life. Like, there's more than 3 attempts on Trump's life as well. But the only unique one is the Butler one, because like the Butler one, maybe you think it's staged. Maybe you think it was real. I'm not going to say anything. Okay. But the only reason why that was unique is because that one actually dinged him, right? If we believe the official narratives that he actually got shot in the ear, but he had he had an incredible, incredible capabilities to rejuvenate his ear like that. Okay. Imagine the meltdown if you went on Kimmel. I know. Who do we know that knows Kimmel? Does Tim Heidecker know Kimmel? Don Lemon might know him. Super TF can get you in there. Super TF, a big Jimmy Kimmel friend. Phineas
tried to shut down the entire Republican Party altogether by now. And speaking of Obama, his first reaction on Sunday was kind of a pro forma rejection of violence on both sides.
Wow. Not enough. Obama should only call out violence coming from the left and not the right, okay? Former President Barack Obama should actually say, it's good when the right does violence, and it's only bad when the left does violence. That's what he should have said. Even then, you'd probably find a way to fucking complain about that too.
Adding that the shooter's motive was unclear. Unclear? Come on. You went to Yale, right? But after the first 2 attempts on Trump's life and after Charlie Kirk was killed, it was obvious the Democrats hadn't learned a thing. They not only didn't stop their venomous lies, they upped the ante.
What Donald Trump wants is a one-party MAGA dictatorship.
Donald Trump is a dictator.
He thinks he should be allowed to do and give whatever order he wants because he's a wannabe dictator.
We are in an era of maximum warfare.
Maximum warfare. And what's worse, that none of them...
So scary. So scary. I can't believe it. Hakeem Jeffries. How many subs from chat to get you in these? $118. What are we doing? Bro, I got too much meat for that. What are you talking about? There's no shot. Where does my penis go in these? Where does my ass go? What are we doing? 1,000 subs. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do it. Answer the question. 1,000 subs, but I'm not going to do it regardless. So subscribe on your own peril. Girl tuck? You tuck it? I don't even know how I would be able to tuck that shit.
Actually believe what they're saying. They all know they're lying. None of them truly thinks that Trump is a Nazi or that he's a dictator, or none of them think that he's going to outlaw elections in the future.
I mean, I do. I can't speak for like Hakeem Jeffries and all these other people that do. I actually end up conceding on a lot of his ridiculous behavior. But, I do legitimately think that.
Repeat the slander for campaign donations and to get voters to the polls for raw power. So why would they all show up Saturday night to hear a dictator? They wouldn't.
The Gafkas, thank you for the
But
subs.
countless alienated leftists who live their lives online begin to believe that it's their call of duty to stop Trump by any means necessary. It's assassination couture, and the Democrats' new pro-Hamas pinup boy wears it well. He's called for the murder of...
Thank you for saying that I wear it well. Thank you. The pro-Hamas pinup boy who's wearing the radicalism quite well.
Senator Rick Scott said that the street should be soaked in red capitalist blood and rationalize the murder of a healthcare CEO. He's a militant Nepo baby twerp influencer delivering a Democrat call to arms.
Twerp.
The top leaders of the Democrat Party may stop short of his language, but still, in the shooter's manifesto, their words echo.
He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator.
He's acting like a king, a despot, a wannabe dictator.
And as a candidate, he was acting as an outlaw candidate. And I would say he was acting like a tyrant.
Of course, when Democrats...
Wow. Wow. These unbelievably scary statements coming from the governor of Illinois and Jamie Raskin. It's so funny when these guys behave like this because they're basically saying, like, you're not allowed to say the truth about the president, okay? You are not allowed to say the truth about the president. Please shut the fuck up about the president being a fascist. It is hurting our feelings, okay? You literally want him dead if you say you don't like the president. This kind of commentary closely resembles a child in kindergarten. Okay. Oh, you want me dead, like a drama queen. That's what Fox News is. They're a bunch of fucking crybabies. It's crazy. Shut up.
Hold on their rhetoric, though. They deny it.
This guy, I don't know how to drive, says, when are you going to get the fuck out of America? I'm here to stay, bitch. How do you like that? Does that worry you? Does that worry you that there are a lot of politicians that I'm working with now and that somewhere along the way, you might actually receive free health care? You're like, no, I don't want Medicare for all. I don't want government-funded health care. No, don't do it. I want to pay, I want health care to cost an arm and a leg. No. And you're like, no, you're going to get it. You're going to get that fucking free health care. That's right. I'm going to force it upon you, authoritarian style. No, I don't want free college education. I don't want that. I don't want dignity in my workplace. I don't want to have more autonomy in my workplace. No. Authoritarianism, baby. Authoritarian style. We're going to give that to you and you're going to like it. You're like, no, I want all my tax dollars to go to Israel. I love Israel. Israel needs to be able to keep killing children with my money. I don't want to fix the potholes. I'm like, no, your potholes are going to get fixed, okay? Your schools are going to get the funding. We're no longer going to war for no fucking reason, okay? You're like, no, but I love that we're going to war overseas. I love when my cousin goes out there and get his dick blown off so that petro-capitalist pedophiles can justify higher profit margins. Only thing they care about is shareholder value increasing. That's what I like. I like this system. No. And I'm like, no, we're going to change that, okay? You're going to have more just, more equitable outcomes. We're going to take all the productive output that we have here in this country and use it for good, use it on ourselves. No, we got to give it to Israel. Nope. That's the type of authoritarianism I'm representing here, okay? Malign influence on American politics. I'm pledging to fill every hole in America, okay? Every pothole.
You have, and as many of your fellow Democrats, have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
What rhetoric do you have in mind?
Just talking about...
Yeah, Dana Fash, handshake emoji, Fox News.
Some of the fact that he, is terrible for this country and so on and so forth. I understand that that's your democratic right, but overall, do you
I have
a
no
responsibility?
personal problem with Donald Trump at all. I mean, I talk about the policies of this administration, the authoritarianism like we saw on display in Minneapolis.
Oh, he doesn't believe that. It's all a lie. So you know what I'm saying tonight? Now it's time for the party to put up or shut up. Answer this question. Do you want to stoke a revolution against this government or not? Because all of you, your language calls for revolution. Now, we all studied our American history, so we know there are times when violence is the answer, when we're facing a tyrant, right? Or well, or a real danger on the other side because of an elected official, right? That's our whole Declaration of Independence. So Jeffrey, Schumer, Pelosi, Warren, Raskin, if you don't want this to continue, you must unequivocally say on camera that the president is not a dictator, he's not a fascist, and that he's a duly elected president of the United States. Vigorous debate, aggressive debate, that's great. That's fine. We all do it. But some things are beyond the pale. He's not Stalin because you disagree with his approach to the war in Ukraine. Thank you very much. It's not enough for Democrats to condemn the violence on both sides. I don't want to hear that either. They are trying to kill our president. So I have a suggestion tonight. Try beating Trump on the issues. Why not offer the country something positive? You tried phony Russia collusion, you tried impeachments, you tried indictments, you tried casting him as Hitler to energize your supporters. None of it worked. Will you ever learn? Do you want to learn?
Be sure to like and subscribe for all.
When you have media.
I'm telling you, I think they're losing their grip on power. I think they're losing their grip on power. I think they're losing the popular momentum that they thought they had when they never really had it, even though they won the election. And that's it. That's the reason why they're just like desperately flailing, trying to hold on to anything, trying to engage in an endless cycle of perceived victimhood, self-victimization. These are cries of desperation. Okay? What is this? I will shout it until I'm blue in the face. The fact that Trump has 10 years of trafficked in conspiracy theories and sowed public mistrust is a part of the reason people are susceptible to conspiracy theories about him. Understanding why people believe conspiracies is different than promoting and encouraging believing conspiracies yourself. Trump being a liar doesn't mean people in the commentary business should suspend disbelief about what is real. This is bad and is incumbent upon people with platforms to push back on it. We have rapid fire, still photos of Trump grabbing his ear in Butler. From the New York Times, a man died. Trump was treated by a nurse at a hospital. All these people are in on the conspiracy. Lunacy. No pro-democracy interest is served by living in unreality. Yeah, except, Tim, have you thought it's kind of funny? Have you thought about how funny it is? You know? Listen, I've let my thoughts be known about the Butler assassination attempt. Time and time again. But if someone were to come up to me and be like, hey, you know, I think the assassination was staged, I'm not going to sit there and I just don't have the bandwidth, you know? I don't have the bandwidth to just argue with people. I am an agreeable person. I'm an agreeable person. You know, if someone were to come up and be like, Hassan, I think the White House Correspondents' Dinner assassination attempt was totally phony. It was totally staged so that Trump could justify building a ballroom after the Supreme Court struck down the funding for Trump's ballroom and said there aren't significant security concerns. And perhaps that's the reason why everyone in unison on the Republican media side said this is exactly why we need to build a ballroom. I'm an agreeable guy. It's tough. It's tough. You're making a convincing argument. You know? You're making a convincing argument to me. I want to disagree with you, and in my mind I'm thinking maybe it's real, but you're bringing up some good points. Who can say what the reality is here? It's tough. It's tough. It's tough for me to argue against. I don't have that dog in me, if you will. I want to tell you what I think. I want to tell you what the truth is, but sometimes it's a little tough to get that point across. I guess I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth, right? That would be unkind of me to do so.
Media just being overly critical and calling the president horrible names for no reason and without evidence, without proof, it shouldn't surprise us that this type of rhetoric takes place. If you look at what it appears that this defendant had in his past, we're talking about somebody who is college educated, who has a job, who was otherwise living his life.
Oh, I saw this is fucking hilarious.
So acting Attorney General Todd Blanche blaming rhetoric for helping fuel threats against President Trump. In a new op-ed, our next guest warns how easy it can be to justify dangerous actions and raises questions about whether today's rhetoric and online culture can lower the barrier to violence. Psychotherapist and Therapy Nation author Jonathan Alpert joins us now. You got a new book that really goes into this. People should get it. I was going through your op-ed, and you talked about the people that explain these actions away. And you're seeing this, they become patients. The question is, where are they getting this from?
Well, they're getting this from everything that's out there, whether it's social media, whether it's...
Dude, this shit is so funny. I've been seeing this too. Capitalism is when mom says I can't have another bowl of ice cream. This is Hassan Lamau. Why are they dunking on photos that are 25 years old at this point, you know? I'm like 9 years old here. What the fuck? Like, what's the argument that, like, I used to be fat? I have noticed an uptick of people being like, you're a fat communist, you're a chubby communist. Like, people keep saying that. And I wonder if it's because, like, they get together in the same forums and they're like, oh, he used to be fat, he has body dysmorphia, let's try to attack him on that or something. Because, like, it's not going to fucking work. Like, yeah, I do have body dysmorphia, but I also know what I look like. I own a mirror, you know? Why don't they dunk on photos like this? Like, what? All you're doing is, like, fat shaming a 10-year-old. What the fuck? Like, what happened? You can't bully what I look like currently, so you have to bully the past? Like, all right. You know, I'm not 9 anymore. It's very weird that you have a photo of me as a 9-year-old in your phone. Very strange behavior. I heard when you bring up these photos, he gets pissed. No, why would I be pissed? What? Yeah, man, I'm sure he's very sensitive about you making fun of how he looked when he was 10. What's next? Are they gonna be like, oh, I have it on good authority that Hassan also refused to eat his vegetables, dude. Fucking idiot. Refused to go to sleep at nap time, dude. Fucking owned.
Left-leaning politicians, they're hearing this, and if it gets into the head of the wrong person, they're going to take action. They feel it's their duty, their moral right even, to take action and eliminate this person that they hate, whether it's Trump or Charlie Kirk. So in their mind, they've rationalized this behavior. And we even have micro-looting now, and that's just...
Or social murder.
Social murder or micro...
Social murder is not a new concept. I didn't make it up. It's well established in the field of sociology. I don't like that so much of this discourse revolves around the opposition's refusal to understand certain sociological concepts. I think there was a point in time when we didn't used to do this. When there was something that another person brought up that you didn't fully understand, you didn't immediately go, ah, dude, what the fuck is this? Ah, stupid. Ah, I don't get this, so obviously it must be wrong. Like, that's what a stupid person does. And at least for the longest time, there was a level of shame in being stupid when people didn't wear it on their fucking sleeves. Okay? Nowadays, people treat stupidity as a virtue.
Microlooting, and that's permission to break the law. And to me, it's absolutely crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have therapists in this very city who approve of that, their patients doing that.
Is that a field, is that an actual study where these non-criminal acts, but what people feel like is a harm to society from their political perspective, that it is justified a reaction to that?
Well, they do, and it's the same old rant, the same rant that we've heard from Bernie Sanders for years now. The system is rigged, corporations are cheating people. So in the mind of these people, they feel like it's okay to steal a couple items from Whole Foods or even more from Dwayne Reed. I believe you can steal up to $800 worth of product now. So they justify it. They don't feel like they're hurting anyone, but it is actually hurting a lot of people. It drives prices, it ruins communities, it ruins neighborhoods. And part of the problem is my profession. We have therapists that are dividing this country. I actually know of therapists who refuse to treat someone if they voted for Trump.
Are you kidding?
Okay, all right. I don't care about this shit. Jesus Christ. Who fucking cares? Woe is me, bro. Woe is me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Conservatives are under attack all the time. Jake Tapper's doing a segment about me. Oh, here we fucking go. Jesus Christ, dude. Where is it?
You there. We can't pretend that the corrosive impact of such sentiments being normalized isn't happening. It seems quite apparent to many political observers. Peter Hamby of Puck wrote today, quote, "There is a rising miasma of conspiratorial thinking, dangerous fact-denying, and dehumanizing language that has taken hold on the American left."
They're so stupid. They think like there is. They literally think like Trump, just arrest Hassan, okay? That's not an argument you can present, you fucking idiot. He's like, just arrest Hassan, Mr. President, not Jimmy Kimmel, is not going to work. Trump doesn't know about me. He gives a fuck about Jimmy Kimmel because he's a boomer. It's the same idiotic assessment regardless.
Tied with those who view right-wing violence the same way, 52%. And a lot of this is based in actions. The assassination of the president of United Healthcare, which lots of progressives were celebrating.
I didn't even say it was fucking conspiracy.
Jesus Christ. On Donald Trump and on, with the response of too many on the left being a shrug or a claim that the assassination attempts were staged, which there is no credible evidence of, full stop. But that said, you can also be forgiven for wondering how sincere the Trump administration is.
Thank you, Balua Jr. for the gifted sub.
Of this, given their exclusive focus on the left. And they're going after late-night jokes and accusing journalists as being part of the problem here. And as for the role of the federal government suppressing any free speech, well, tread carefully, folks. Here, on the same day that King Charles addressed Congress, let's revisit words delivered by George Washington back when he was fighting King Charles.
He just talked about you for 2 minutes. I don't know if we'll get back to it.
Grandfather, King George III. In an address aimed at firing up his tired Revolutionary Army in 1783, George Washington said, quote, "The freedom of speech may be taken away, and, dumb and silent, we may be led, like sheep, to the slaughter." That is what George Washington thought the free speech stakes were. This is also a major day for California's race for governor. Ahead, the fight for attention.
Yeah, I guess he is doing Fox News' bidding in the beginning of the piece, where he, I guess, brought me up for 2 minutes to say this is the good kind of speech to regulate, Mr. President. Mr. President Donald Trump, if you're watching, arrest Hassan Piker, not Jimmy Kimmel. You know, that type of shit. We already know Jake Tapper doesn't give a fuck about free speech. He disparaged the pro-Palestinian student movement, okay? 3,500 students were arrested under the Biden administration for the crime of exercising their First Amendment rights. Not a peep from Jake Tapper. As a matter of fact, whenever he did talk about it, he talked about it gleefully. He talked about it like it was a good thing. He disparaged the pro-Palestinian movement over and over again, saying that they were dangerous radicals, okay, that they were anti-Semitic. Hamby, a total nobody, is also one of the people Tapper had on, along with Jonah Platt, to do a 10-minute segment on Hassan Piker earlier this month. Good friends scratching each other's backs. That's what counts as must-see TV journalism these days. Peter Hamby, new from Puck News. The American left is a problem. Political violence, conspiracy theories, and crazy talk are increasingly coming from inside the House. Left-wing violence is rising, and voters increasingly blame liberals for our toxic politics. I cannot believe how much these liberals, these supposed liberals in independent, like, or not independent, but like mainstream news, that is a liberal slant, are doing the bidding of right-wing charlatans, doing propaganda for right-wing media, doing propaganda for right-wing monsters on a daily fucking basis. Curious if Tapper will touch on the Cole Allen's boosting of anti-Palestine content. He will not. Of course not. Because he's a propagandist. Yes, I know that Van Jones did a piece on me. Again, paid by Israel. Either ideologically loyal to Israel or directly paid by Israel to demonstrate said ideological loyalty. Anyway, AOC condemns ballroom.
The president wants this new ballroom that he's been
trying
to construct as a way to move ahead and protect himself and others during these big events. Is this something you would support authorizing in light of what happened on Saturday?
No. You know, the president, let's be very clear here. The president he demolished the East Wing of the White House, a historic jewel of the American people, and he started to build this ballroom long before any incident. He also promised the American people that this was going to be built with private dollars. And so the idea that they are now trying to change the rationale for this in retrospect doesn't quite add up. And in fact, the White House long had facilities for hosting, which also included the East Wing of the White House, prior to them bulldozing the crown jewel of the American people. And so I don't believe that in an era where they are jacking up prices on the American people, when they are gutting everyone's health care, when people cannot afford to pay their rent and their mortgages, that we should be choosing our precious treasure, little treasure that we have in this country, to build an ornate castle on a scale of which is quite unprecedented and unbelievable without any sort of accountability to those funds. And I'm sure that anyone who believes in, these values of so-called waste, fraud, and abuse would agree with me on that.
Do you feel safe currently as a member of Congress right now? Do you feel safe right now
I've never
in this
felt
situation?
safe. I never have.
So Alex Jones, or as many are calling him, the most washed man of all time.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Alex Jones' audience turns on him for saying the White House Correspondents' Dinner not staged. That is incredible. That is incredible. A man who trafficked in unlimited conspiracy theories. You should do a 10-minute YouTube video responding to Van Jones' hit piece, Cook His Ass King, Nodders. I just think it's so washed. Can you explain to me why you promoted Tom Steyer, a billionaire, when we have a socialist on the ballet? Ramsey Robinson is a socialist. Why haven't you promoted, even brought his name up in this socialist community? I have talked about Ramsey Robinson. Unfortunately, Ramsey Robinson has no viability whatsoever. Like, I've made it very clear when I talk about elections, I make a very pragmatic calculation. It's not ideological loyalty that I have. It's about who the most viable leftmost option is. It's not dissimilar to, for example, when people say, why don't you promote the Green Party? Why don't you promote Jill Stein in elections? Well, there's different reasons for why I don't do that. But yeah, it got... The Van Jones video has 62 views on YouTube, man. What do you mean? You want me to do a fucking Van Jones piece? 18 hours ago, 64 views. You want me to fucking cover this? This man got paid $100 million, was given $100 million by Jeff Bezos. God knows how much money Israel is paying him to do this shit. Okay? It's hilarious. What a grift. It's great. It's wonderful. I mean, let him milk these people fucking dry.
Continues in his decline into complete and utter irrelevancy. He came out after the alleged attempted White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, and he said the following. Ready?
Everybody's asking me whether or not I think the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night in D.C. was staged. The long and short of it is no.
So the man who every single mass shooting that's happened in this country for decades, everyone, false flag, Obama's trying to take your guns even though he never took your guns, false flag, it's all false flag, it's all fake, it's all the Bilderbergs, it's all the Illuminati, they're all working together, they're all trying to, interdimensional demons are trying to grab a hold of your mind and change your mind and make you accept to live in Hobbit homes like Agenda 21, and everything's fake. Everything is a conspiracy, except when there's actual evidence of a conspiracy. And then it's, no, this one's actually real. Why? Because Trump's involved, and I still suck Trump off, even though Trump hates me and threw me under the bus.
Yeah, too many of the D.C. police, Secret Service, all of them involved. The very small percentage of those guys are corrupt. Something like that, right out in the open. A registered Democrat, Trump derangement syndrome, 30-year-old teacher. Everybody keeps saying...
This one has the makings of a real... this one has the makings of a real attempt. Unlike every single real mass shooting that had real victims that I lied about.
How to get through security? He didn't. He waited until the event was going. Then he charged the metal detectors, barely got through it, and they shot him twice.
What is this? Not sure if you remember the arson attack on the German anti-Semitism commissioner at the start of the year, but a predictable plot twist has occurred. Unexpected but predictable plot twist. The arson attack on Brandenburg anti-Semitism commissioner Andreas Büttner, including the anti-Zionist graffiti on his house, was most likely the work of two pro-Israel business partners and friends half his age. Büttner, an ex-Mormon, ex-Christian Democrat, ex-Free Democrat, ex-cop, had until recently been a member of Die Linke, stylizing himself as a martyr in the battle against left anti-Semitism. Turns out he's probably just a pathological liar. Wow. By the way, Bittner is not Jewish. I remember this like anti-Semitic attack that took place against the Germans. Oh my God, German society is so busted. I was talking to I don't know how much information I can reveal. I was having a dinner with a bunch of my friends, okay, and they were telling me how German society is like insanely and very strangely philo-Semitic in a way that fetishizes Jewish people. My Jewish friends were the ones who were reporting back to me, and that when they actually encounter anti-Zionist Jews, it like bricks their conscience for some reason. Like they don't understand it. It's like unbelievable. And that a part of German society's obsession, some in German society's obsession with Jewish people and Judaism, apparently revolves around sometimes dressing up in as fetish content, pretty much dressing up as Jews, like down to wearing like a hook nose and shit. Okay. And I could not comprehend it. Like I didn't understand it. And I still, to this day, don't understand. Like, it's like anti-Semitic. Straight up. I mean, fetishization, philo-Semitism is still anti-Semitism as well. But their guilt around the Holocaust, which, you know, you should kind of feel guilty for, let's be real, has turned into this like collective psychosis and outright admiration. That's the weirdest lie. Burned salami toast. That's a blatant lie. That's the weirdest lie you made up. Hold on. I think there's literally a news report on this. There's an entire... Wait, what the fuck is this? Is a book on it? I guess it does make sense, though. I guess it does make sense. German here, no lie, but there is no guilt in German society. No, you know what it reminds me of, actually? And some people in the chat also brought this up. The fetishization of black people in America. America obviously has a white supremacist culture, white supremacist foundation in its societal formation, right? It's chattel slavery. It's the continuation of chattel slavery is very important in the development of American society. And I think the tendency among racist people to engage in a similar acts is perhaps the closest analog that I can think of. Correct, good comparison. I'm German, bro, and I genuinely don't think it's guilt for the Holocaust, even if they say this. I think it's literally just liking genocide and supporting every move Israel wants us to support. I find it very odd, but there is this like weird fantasy. Jacobin wrote about this. I've seen the manifestation of this behavior already, right? As far as the German attitude towards Israel goes. I mean, that's like one example of it. Why do these German citizens, fetishization of Arabs in Europe is more like it? Why did this guy not respond to me at all? God, Germans are such a strange society. Oh, this is the Baffler article. This is the one guy. How German isn't it? The ceremonial performance of Jewishness in Germany. Okay, yeah. This is one of the articles I was thinking of. This guy goes to a Shabbat dinner he was invited to, and he realizes he's the only Jew there. I am still waiting for your facts. This is the weirdest lie you've ever made up. Since October 7, German politicians have proposed rescinding the nationality of German citizens, restricting the civil rights of non-EU foreign residents, and limiting the number of children with a... Hold on, Baffler. Stop posting this. German politician credibly accused of harboring neo-Nazi sympathies in his youth blamed the country's anti-Semitism on immigration. Germany's largest newspaper published a 50-point manifesto on what it means to be German. Number 47 reads, Germany has a heart for children. They are not beaten, but promoted. A prominent German journalist published an article on the title, The Jews or Agro-Arabs. We have to decide who we want to keep. The anti-Semitism commissioner, Baden-Württemberg, who is not Jewish, wrote, the Nazis were still hiding their mass murders, whereas Hamas celebrated them in the media, like Daesh before them. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Then there are the literal costume Jews. I have twice witnessed large groups of Germans wearing kippot, once at a rally against anti-Semitism and once marching with a large police escort down Sonnenallee, the hub of Arab life in Berlin, chanting pro-Israel slogans. To hold a sign that says "Stop Genocide" or "From the River to the Sea" on that same street would invite certain arrests and potentially criminal prosecution. The police violently suppressed demonstrations and even basic symbols of Palestinian identity, where their fascination with Israel moves beyond it. Okay? Some years ago, a friend of mine was invited to a Shabbat dinner. The attendees all gave the appearance of being religiously observant. They knew the hymns. The men wore kippot, one even a payot. The host insisted that my friend recite the various blessings. Through a chance comment during dinner, he discovered he was the only Jew in attendance. They were Germans who enjoyed enacting Jewish rituals and wanted a Jew to unwittingly give his blessing. This is beyond like boomer philo-Semitism that you see amongst Americans in general. This is like something totally different. There is like a legitimate obsession. An actual Felix bit, yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I have some opinions. Like I said, it's very similar to like white people doing this to black people in America, for example, right? Many more Germans than Wolf Hingst and Seibert feel Jewish. Jewish Community Archives evidence that many Germans attempted to discover their Jewish heritage after the war. Everyone seems to have a Jewish aunt here, or their grandparents were in the resistance, or maybe it was their great aunt. Others have simply converted. Walter Homolka converted to Judaism as a teenager and went on to become one of the most powerful rabbis in Germany. He effectively controlled the most important institutions associated with non-Orthodox Judaism in Germany and shared the stage with Angela Merkel and other politicians. Homolka did not hesitate to speak on behalf of all Jews when he said, "The Shoah is no longer central to my generation. Not even his inordinate interest in Jesus would diminish his standing as a preeminent Jewish authority." His downfall began in 2022 when it emerged that his longtime partner had sent a cantorial student a video of an erect penis being stroked in 2019. Homolka was subsequently accused of abuse of power and discrimination by the Central Council of Jews in Germany. The whistleblower, identified as A in the council's 800-page report about the affair, testifies that Homolka once encouraged him to take a job in South Africa where there were huge black cocks. I think it's a lot more akin to how white liberals treat native culture. No, absolutely. That too. 100%. That too. Many white people is a meme, but many white people also claim to be part native. They love the certain aspects of the culture, obviously, and it's not really. There's a whole fucking word for this phenomenon, costume Jude. Wait, where's that chatter? There's an entire fucking word for it? Are you serious? Folly Magazine. Costume Jude. Charlie Goldberg, Alec Kokoda's interview. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's from the interview, the Baffler interview. You used to live in Tel Aviv. You live in Berlin now. What does Jewish life look like in both of those cities today? What does American Jewish life look like? Speaking about Jewish life in Tel Aviv is a bit of a misnomer because walking down the street is Jewish life in some ways. American Jews in Israel tend to be extremely right-wing and tend not to be in Tel Aviv. They gravitate towards Jerusalem and the settlements of the West Bank. And in Tel Aviv, you'll meet some kind of suspicion usually around being an American Jew. There's not really a left-wing scene in Tel Aviv anymore. It's the same 100 people at the protest. They all know each other. Israeli leftists are all moving away now, as far as I know. They have a bit of a suspicion around American Jews because of what they regard as America's support of Israel. And they all have a really simplistic view and formulation of American Judaism. Their formulation comes from Americans who come through Taglit, birthright, free trip for diaspora Jews to visit Israel. Yeah, but that is a certain fascination. This is an intersection point for the Israeli men. They develop a certain view of America based on sexual experiences on birthright. It's quite different for the women who go on these things. Did you find, when you were there, that the left-wing scene was more lively than it was today? Have they continued to move to Berlin? I don't know what an Israeli left-winger is anymore. My ex-wife is one, for example, but she's quite rare that she's held on to her principles since October 7th. Her cousin is a hostage in Gaza, and it still didn't sway her to give up on leftist principles. She votes for Hadash, left-wing, mainly Arab anti-Zionist party in Israel, my goats. And my friend Nimrod Flaschenberg, who used to work for Hadash, his wife Tamar, is in the same writing group as me. I see them quite a bit. But overall, I don't think the leftist Israelis are coming to Berlin because Berlin is not what it used to be. I think it appeals to a certain kind of Israeli, but not the left-wing one. I don't know where they're going, to be honest. What kind of Israeli does it appeal to? The kind who wants to get fucked up in a club? Even that, I think, is going. Okay, this is just like Israeli Jews and how they feel about like Berlin and shit. There was a moment after the essay came out. Expats in Berlin, which will address some of this, and that'll get to it, I think. Also, Axel Springer fetishizing Jews. Wait, where? How did I get to this? What was I? How did I get to the concept? Yeah. In the eyes of many German critics, Wolf's greatest sin was to argue, in the guise of a Jewish identity, that supporting a boycott of Israel is not necessarily anti-Semitic, even though he did not support such a boycott himself. Wolf was subsequently castigated as some costume Jew, costume Jude, by Germany's largest Jewish and Gentile newspapers. He's been called an aspiring key witness Jew. First of all, there's something very strange about hearing the word Jewish in German. It automatically makes me react, you know? I just anything that I hear in the German language that revolves around Jews, Judaism, or associated words that have Jew in it, it's just like, that's weird. Should you be allowed to say that? Should you be allowed to use that word in the German language? I don't know. Yes, this sounds much more similar to how Americans interface with natives, like they are a people of the past who no longer exist, putting their customs on a pedestal as a higher virtue, wearing stereotyped outfits, and claiming descent when it's tenuous at best. It's not sexual, but it is a fetishization. Yeah, but also, I mean, yeah, I guess you're right about that. You're right. But the reason why I also compared it to like, yeah, you're right. I think it's a better analog. White Americans in the aftermath of the indigenous genocide adopting like some of the cultural signifiers of the natives, Tomahawk missiles, right? Apache helicopters, things of that nature on top of everything else. Contra, Wolf's complaints about German. This is a language with astonishingly nimble capacity for creating neologisms for the word Jew. What the fuck? Alibi Jude, an alibi Jew, one who provides cover for anti-Semitic or anti-Israel rhetoric. Berufsjude, a professional Jew, a Jew by profession. Faschingsjude, a carnival Jew. Großvater Jude, someone who has one Jewish grandfather. Kostümjude, a costume Jew. Kreuze, a key witness Jew, providing testimony for anti-Semitic or anti-Israeli rhetoric. Meinungsjude, an opinion Jew or a Jew by opinion. Modejude, a fashion Jew or fashionably Jewish. Are you reading slurs? I understand why that it comes across like I'm reading slurs, but no, we're reading an article about like German culture's weird obsession with Jewish people. I love you and your proportionally sized head, Hassan, but we got here because you read this dumb motherfucker's chat messages. They have not chatted again. Maybe they're actually listening. Who knows? But that's how we got here. Yeah, this guy said I was lying. I was making this up. You always talk about Israel. Could it be you yourself are an Israeli Muppet? Aren't you the leftist Alex Jones? This is a blatant lie. That is the weirdest lie you made up. I'm still waiting for your facts. What kind of argument is this going to be? All this talk about Jews and you won't even wish your resident Jewish chatter of the year a happy 30th birthday? Damn, you're old as fuck, Megaphonics. It did sound so crazy as to be a bit unbelievable, but wow. Yeah. No, but like, what was the reason why I brought German philo-Semitism up? I can't remember. Before that. Oh, it was because of this German guy who's like the anti-Semitism czar, setting up a fake hate crime against himself, even though he's not even Jewish.
They didn't shoot him, so you're wrong about that too.
And he shot one of the Secret Service, but the body armor stopped the buckshot. That's just the facts. That doesn't mean we don't have cover-ups of Epstein and cover-ups of a second shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania.
See, now he's trying to soften it. There's a lot of other conspiracies, and I know I'm the conspiracy guy. So, yeah, all the other conspiracies are actual conspiracies, but this one is not, because this one actually is one where...
Wait, is Alex Jones saying Butler, Pennsylvania had a second shooter? Wait, so he has a conspiracy theory for the Butler, Pennsylvania one, but he doesn't have a conspiracy theory for this one? This one is like... a conspiracy delivered on a silver platter, buddy. That's crazy.
the leftists and the liberals are right about it, so therefore this one actually doesn't count, but all the other ones that are for right-wingers, those ones are real.
Doesn't mean I just believe what Cash Patel and them say. But, there's footage of Cash Patel out in the dark. Cell phones are so good, though, you can hit, up the light, you can see him. He's all on his phone, not knowing what's going on, because they ushered him all out. But the guy did not get into the main ballroom. Trump's been told that that's not a safe facility. That's why he's never been there as president. But over the objections of the Secret Service, he did it. And that's why they want the ballrooms. It's got bulletproof glass and better security systems. Every other major country has facilities to do this. We don't. That's why Trump's.
So now he's using this to do the, is he still in the group chats? I'm just going to ask the question. Is he still in the group chats? Is he still in the fucking, the MAGA group chats where Trump sends out the marching orders? You got to say that we need the ballroom. And this proves we need the ballroom. And he's like, yes, sir, I'll go out there and say that, even though you were just shitting on me publicly to millions of people the other day. I'll go out there and say, so yeah, we totally need the ballroom. Even though, Alex, it's a literal pay-to-play corruption scheme, you fucking idiot. If it was a Democratic president illegally building a ballroom and taking money from the Epstein-class billionaires to do it, he would be on top of that shit like white on rice, calling out how corrupt it is, connecting the dots for people, saying that this is the Epstein class in cahoots with the regime. But since it's Trump, it's actually the ballroom's a great idea. I love the ballroom idea. I love the fact that they're building a nuclear bunker underneath where they can go and hide as they usher in nuclear Armageddon. I think that's great. I'm going to try to get in that bunker myself. I'm going to try to suck up to them enough to get in that bunker.
Charlie Kirk, definite cover-up going on there. Patel ordered the investigation of foreign involvement to be killed. The list goes on and on. But just because a bunch of other stuff is a lie does not mean that this is a lie. There are a lot of Democrats that want Trump dead. There are a lot of people openly saying they want him dead. And I think Trump, really needs to be a lot more careful. But at the end of the day, Trump says he's honored in that press conference. He must be getting something done. It's only presidents that get stuff done that they try to kill, which is definitely a true statement.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Dude, Trump literally called Alex Jones a fucking idiot. Like a bumbling fool. And he's still eating Trump's dick and balls and possibly ass too. Have some fucking decency, man.
Still so fucking mega cucked to Trump, even though Trump threw him under the bus 1,000 times over. What a loser. What a loser. Now, by the way, this is glorious. So here are some of the replies. Some people were never told the story of the boy who cried wolf as a child. Integrity and transparency mean something. Once they're lost, so is all trust. Somebody says, yeah, Alex done burned bridges with his longtime supporters. Nothing he says is relevant now, especially when we can see with our own two eyes how fake everything actually is. This person says, did anyone tell these people there's a shooter in the building and they're just sort of like standing around? Yeah, they lie constantly, oftentimes for like no reason, but this is totally real, guys. This person says, just because the other stuff is a lie doesn't mean this is. Brother, do I have a theory for you? Old Alex has to make all that money back he owes. He got paid off as well, along with Candace and Tucker. That's all these motherfuckers care about is the money and fuck the integrity. LOL, Alex is a pathetic idiot, completely bought and paid for. Alex Jones said the suspect was shot twice. I believe that is wrong. I do not believe he was shot at all. Alex Jones is so fucking stupid. Does anyone listen to him, or do you watch it just to cringe at him? Can he fuck off already? Now we definitely know it was staged. LOL, Alex is protecting himself now. He knows it's fake and staged. Get the fuck out of here with this Alex Jones bullshit. Bro, Trump staged a fake shooting for Melania's birthday. Bro, 100% of people are like, fuck you.
That's awesome. Oh, hell yeah. This is so completely out of control. This unironically reminds me of the Epstein saga. These guys trafficked in conspiracy over and over again, genuinely said that they were going to reveal the Epstein files back when they, for some weird and unforeseeable reason, assumed only Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton would be implicated, not realizing that Donald Trump is basically fuck buddies with Jeffrey Epstein and that numerous figures in his administration are directly connected to Jeffrey Epstein. This was the same thing in Trump 1 as well. Alexander Acosta, Trump's labor secretary, had to literally resign when the Epstein stuff came out again with the Miami Herald investigation. So it's hilarious that these guys who traffic in the Epstein stuff did not realize how this could blow up in their own fucking faces.
Back against new calls from the First Lady and the President, basically to get him fired, this time over a joke he made last week, days before the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
And of course, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Again, that was days.
That was a banger, by the way, straight up. Like, that was actually a very funny Uh-oh, we got friendly fire. Yeah, I know. Secret Service agent shot during Trump assassination bid may have been hit by colleague. I know. I brought this up. I suspected that was the case the first night, and people got mad at me.
Before the incident Saturday night, the attempted shooting there, but now the First Lady says his words, Jimmy Kimmel's words, are corrosive and that they deepen the political sickness within the country. And she added, it is time for ABC to take a stand. President Trump also said that Kimmel should be fired and said the joke was a despicable call to violence. Kimmel pushed back during his monologue overnight.
Obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful.
I like that he did not back down, by the way, and he just doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on this. Beast mode. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am 100% in support of Jimmy Kimmel on this endeavor. Okay? I listened to this earlier. He just doesn't give a shit. He's like, he just keeps going boom, 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 boom. This is exactly what you're supposed to do, by the way. These guys are fucking cynical, sinister assholes. Okay? They traffic in some of the most dangerous rhetoric, some of the most violent rhetoric. Do not back down. Only apologize if you did something worthy of an apology. Okay? That's been my policy. That's been my policy since day one. Okay? Unironically, the only apology that you're delivering, if you've done something worthy of an apology, you're delivering not because people are going to be sincere going forward, by the way, and they will even use that apology against you. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Okay? Apologies in this day and age are no longer done so that people understand sincerely where you're coming from and they feel like you are genuinely apologetic, that you've actually wronged someone and you've done some harm and you're actually speaking to that. No. Apologies across the board, unconditionally, even if it's a worthy apology, are never treated with acceptance. Apologies are treated as an admission of defeat in this day and age. It's not, nobody cares about remorse. Nobody cares about the truth. Let's be real. It's a corrosive environment. However, that is the environment. Okay? That's just how it is. Like it, love it, hate it, doesn't matter. That is precisely how it is. Having said that, I still will every now and then deliver apologies when I feel like I've done something wrong. Okay? When I've actually done something wrong and I do have remorse for it. Okay? But I don't do it because I think people are going to turn around and be like, oh, I accept your apology, King, and be understanding. I know full well that people will use it against me. I mean, look at the fucking 9/11 stuff. They still bring that shit up all the time. It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. Graham Plattner apologizing for the tattoo. Great. You know, it was fantastic. It was right. It was the right thing to do. It's, ridiculous. But that's precisely the reason why I don't fucking back down when cynical grifters will say, oh, your rhetoric is violent. You're doing this. You're doing that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Your boos mean nothing when I see what has made you cheer. Okay? And I'm glad that Jimmy Kimmel is also keeping that energy here.
That house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back.
Why are you in New York City? I'm in New York City because I have to attend an event. As a matter of fact, I have to go fairly soon. And I'm doing a bunch of other stuff while I'm here as well, like interviews and things like that.
Would be to have a conversation with your husband about it because...
All right, with us this morning, CNN Media.
Dog, that's a Rick and Morty quote. Shh, shut the fuck up. Shut up. I know it is, but no one else, but it goes hard, okay? We don't have to admit that.
Media analyst Sarah Fisher from Axios and CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter. Brian, let me just start with you. Jimmy Kimmel, to my eye, didn't look particularly nervous last night as he was delivering that monologue, and it was notable that he was there at all. ABC didn't step in to take him off the air. As
it absolutely was.
Yeah, they've done that before, kind of.
My indication, Disney's being tight-lipped about this, so on the record, nobody there is saying anything about Kimmel. But my sense, talking with sources, making calls overnight, is that Disney is absolutely standing by Kimmel. And you can see that because he was on everyone's television sets last night. But more importantly, behind the scenes, there have also been signals to Kimmel and to his team that the company is with him, that the company is not wavering, that the company is not going to try to knuckle or maybe cower in the face of Trump's pressure. And that is, of course, notable because of last fall, because of Kimmelgate last fall, when he was yanked from the airwaves. The reason he was yanked from the airwaves back then was in part due to local stations with cozy ties to the Trump administration that yanked Kimmel's show locally. The big difference in this case, John, is that those station group owners, Nexstar and Sinclair, they haven't done a thing. They haven't said a word. I think they learned last time that it was a mistake to pull Kimmel, and so they're not doing it this time. So we're seeing a big difference in the power dynamics here. Frankly, John, Kimmel has all the power this time.
Sarah, how do you see it? And I think just remind our viewers of the relationship between the federal government and a broadcast network like ABC.
I agree with Brian that the dynamic is very different with the local broadcasters, especially because one of those broadcasters, Nexstar, is currently trying to do a big merger, and they're going through a lot of sort of court and litigation filings to be able to get that done. And so for them, they're not trying to put themselves in another position where they have to deal with another sort of legal battle when they're trying to get a big deal done. I think broadcasters are very vulnerable to these types of attacks from the president in this administration because the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, has jurisdiction over broadcasts. They don't have jurisdiction over internet properties or cable networks like CNN. And so for ABC, which is just one subsidiary in this broader ecosystem that is owned by Disney, they make their parent company more vulnerable to any sort of deals being stopped or probed or evaluated simply by existing as a broadcaster. That's why, John, you saw ABC and CBS settle lawsuits with the president, but not print publications, which aren't regulated as closely by the federal government, like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal.
I want to bring in CNN political analyst Michael Singleton and Sochi Hinojosa. I'm glad to have both of you here. All right, look, you know full well that this was asked of by the president and the first lady. They were offended by what he said. It did take place 2 days before the White House correspondence, and we know, of course, what happened on that occasion. Sochi, what's your reaction to Kimmel's essentially pointing the finger back and saying, I think this should be a larger conversation, Mr. President?
Well, I think there has been this larger conversation over the last 24 to 48 hours about political rhetoric. And I do think it was a joke, and I'm glad he was able to address it. He was talking about his age. Nobody wants anything to happen to this president.
There is, I do experience a little bit of joy seeing CNN have to do the autism power hour that I have to engage in all the time with my fucking audience anytime they see any joke on screen. Okay? It is kind of funny to watch mainstream media go through the motions as well and be like, well, technically the joke was actually about, her hating Donald Trump and the fact that Donald Trump is old. It's wonderful that they also now have to address all of this shit. Yeah. Legalize comedy is what I say. But on that note, I must leave you early. This is a true half-day Hossie moment, 4 hours and 25 minutes, because I have to go. I have to go to an event. So, love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I will be lifting with Chi Ose and perhaps another super special, super secret guest that may be in town. Not sure if we'll be able to make that happen, but we're working on it. Phoning it in, shrinkflation, yes. But yeah, tomorrow, Chi and I go meat for meat. Okay? And let me tell you, he's got a whole lot more meat than I do, okay? I mean, have you seen that man? He's out there doing powerlifting competitions and shit. But yes, I will be in New York City still. But Half Day Hossie is officially commencing. Part-time piker. Get it out of the way. Yes, we're going to be lifting on stream.
Damn, this guy's good.